Okay.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Three Dead Babies podcast. I'm Vampire Jesus. This is co-host. Today, we're going to be covering language and communication and the changing of language. But before we get into that, we're going to start off with some recent news that's happened. Today, I found out about half an hour ago, this happened today, a Chinese diplomat in BC, I believe, has just been expelled from Canada.
Yeah.
He was found guilty of spying. Yeah, for the Chinese government. And so from what I know, his family is from Hong Kong, and the Chinese government, the CCP, was putting pressure on his family and him to spy on Canada and on Canadians, and to also, I believe, influence lawmakers in Canada.
Yeah, and I think that's the headline they're mostly running with, is that he was targeting lawmakers.
Yeah, so that's what it was. He was targeting lawmakers to try and influence the way Canadian law is made in elections and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that would benefit ultimately the CPP.
That would
CCP.
Yeah, and he's denied all these claims, but he is leaving the country voluntarily. He's not being forced or anything like that. He had been investigated a while ago for doing this too, so it's a good thing. Finally got put down.
Poor choice of words.
I know. Outside of that, related to the Chinese CCP, those police, the secret police that the CCP had in Canada, they had some in Toronto, BC. I think they had one in Ottawa, in all those places. This is also related to this Chinese diplomat, although this investigation is still hush-hush by the RCMP and CSIS.
So we're going to talk about it.
What? Yeah, so we're gonna talk about it. So we know for a fact that in Canada, the CCP is operating secret police stations, where it's called secret police, but it's not really police officers. It's like Chinese enforcers, right? That work for the CCP government. They go around in Chinese communities and force people to either spy or extract money or things like that.
Oh, so it's a gang.
It's a gang. It's basically a gang. They've been doing this for years now. I think it started around the time during the Hong Kong battle, the fucking war for Hong Kong that happened a few years ago. Then those secret police started popping up because a lot of the people that lived in Hong Kong ran to places like the US and Canada to escape the CCP. Yeah. And they sent the secret police with these secret police stations. It's actually crazy. One of the ones in Toronto, the RCMP busted it and took like photos of the inside and stuff. It's like apartment buildings or houses that are owned by Chinese citizens that are loyalists to China. Yeah. And they just set it up with a bunch of equipment to spy on people.
No fucking way.
It's insane. But yeah. So
that's crazy.
That's ongoing investigation. I'm sure there's going to be more Chinese diplomats and more secret police stuff that's going to pop up in the next couple months. I think that'll be really cool.
So follow the news.
For that one.
That's awesome. It sucks because, like, I feel like Asian cultures kind of have an in when it comes to things like that. Like, they're going to be able to get away with things like that in Ottawa, Toronto, BC, and they'll blend. No one would bat an eye. Yeah. But if you had a bunch of Canadian loyalists, they would be spotted in a week. Like, hey.
well, that's the thing with the West, right? In the West, a lot of people, there's multiple races and multiple cultures in the West. It's normal to see that. Yeah. Anywhere else in the world, it's not normal to see a bunch of different cultures, So, again, it's much easier to do undercover operations in the West compared to other places in the world. Yeah.
Plus, like, the Canadian one would just be like a bunch of Dixie cups leaning out windows of apartments and be like, this is how we do our surveillance, eh? You can hear everything. You put your ear real close. Let's not forget that Three Dead Babies podcast is always filmed in front of a dead studio audience. Keeping us company.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hollow eyes. Reminds me of my dreams.
And most of my ex-girlfriends.
All right. Another piece of news.
Fires.
This one's a funny one. Okay. So, I'm sure a lot of people know right now that and on the west side of Canada, there's always a lot of forest fires. Normally, they start a little later in the year, but this year, an organization called Women in Fires, which is a women-only firefighter group, decided to go and do some exercises, and they lit some fires in the woods and weren't able to contain them, and now they've burned down like 100 hectares.
Who did they call after?
Firefight men to come fix it.
Yeah, guys, come and fix our fuck up.
Yeah,
what a surprise! You tried, ladies.
Yeah, good work. Good work. Fuck.
This isn't necessarily pertaining to women, but just the stupidity of human beings. Because fires have been a huge issue.
Yeah,
California, out west, Australia, like they're having huge problems. Like the last 10 years, and just burning massive fucking acres.
Yeah.
The best part of that, though, is we still won't listen to indigenous cultures talking, and farmers. Like, that's another piece.
Yeah.
Farmers and indigenous cultures are telling the government, you have to cut fucking burn lines here.
You do.
So that the fire doesn't keep going. And they put them off, and they don't want to listen to them. They don't want to spend the money. And then they spend an absorbent amount of money trying to fight this fire and reclaim the land, which is...
Which is funny. Historically speaking, I don't want to go too far off, but real quick. Historically speaking, forest fires were not something that happened a lot because throughout all of human history, we're talking Europe, Asia, the New World, everywhere. Throughout all of history, around the globe, people would go into the woods, collect things like fallen branches, fallen trees, and would also chop down large trees and small trees for different uses, but they would also leave trees because they needed them. Yeah. Which then prevented massive forest fires like we have today from happening. Yeah. So it's a recent thing. And now I'm all for ecology and not conservatism, you know that thing.
Yeah, conservation.
Conservation. Yeah. I'm all for that, but things like, you'll often see it at campgrounds and that kind of stuff where they'll be like, don't go into the woods collecting trees. Don't go do this. Don't go do that. Yeah. As in taking any sort of brush, and they want you to use their firewood. Part of that is obviously for them to make money on you, but another part of it is they're trying to protect the natural environment. But the thing is that like the natural environment will like burn up if we don't intervene.
To some degree.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that solves a lot of problems because, especially now, with like forestation or deforestation, like you can, with planning and resources, you could be making all of that up by cutting what should be cut. Yeah. Right? Taking a small percentage of an ecosystem to make sure that things like that don't happen. They don't get destroyed. And you can replant there because it'll be far less likely for it to catch fire. Yeah. Or to contain enough combustibles, we'll say, to keep that fire going. Absolutely. These... again, especially in Australia, like they don't cut, a person-wide path. Like these are massive strips, and that's what they would use. They would use everything from that strip for their village, for their town, for their city. Again, it's only in the last 100 years that things have really started to move away from needing those resources. But now we clear cut forests to keep costs down for them. Yeah, and we get left with this mess, and they just decimate a whole ecosystem. Absolutely, where they could easily be taking what they need from these places. And
I don't know, like the feasibility of like financially, it would actually be, in my head, I think it would be cheaper to have a crew of people with smaller equipment go through woods and just harvest pieces of stuff that you need than it would be to clear cut an entire 100 hectares, right? Well, like I feel like that's a lot of fucking man labor.
Yeah, it's a ton. Yeah. But and again, like even to that, like you're gonna avoid all of the issues with fires, so money can be relocated from whatever budget was allocated for that or what expenses are needed for that. That can go into making this sustainable logging program. Yeah. You're not going to have all the pushback from protesters, so that's not going to stifle all of this, commotion and chaos into your daily operations because everybody will be on the same page that these are for the benefit. We need wood still. It's a big part of our society and what we make. Yeah. But we understand that these ecosystems are important, so to maintain them, we burn our fire lines, have people come in and plant behind us, and then you can move left or right. Yeah. and that would be awesome, and much more sustainable. Again, you would need more powerful minds than just our two, but not by much.
Like really, like you're just going in collecting wood. It's not that.
And it would give you access to a lot of things. Again, like all of our major ecosystems or major forest systems need something like that.
Yeah.
And that's not just for the West or for Australia. That's again across most parts of the globe. Some of them, Scotland's cut every fucking tree they have down, so they don't really need that.
Yeah.
But let's not let that happen to the rest of the place.
Oh, no. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I think it was kind of a light. We didn't want to do too. We needed a break from how fucking crazy and messed up the world is. But those are some topical stories, and just goes to show you that, have a man put your fire out. No offense, but statistically, you just tried and failed.
Yeah. You did the exact opposite of what you were trying to do.
Opposite. Yeah, fire maker is now your new name.
You're not supposed to fight with the fire.
Yeah. Fight fire with fire doesn't work when you're trying to put something out.
All right.
We should just go and give them a tutorial. That would be awesome. Bunch of jacked, beautiful firefighting women. Just be like, water on.
Yeah, you have a bucket. See fire. Men smart, woman dumb.
This is the most condescending, fucking patronizing thing. It's in your name. I feel like if you're gonna set out on an endeavor like that, you should be,
How are you not ready for it? Like,
well, it's because we know
literally
exactly why they're not ready for it.
Yeah, I know. But it's like the top best firefighter females in that region get together for this fucking Comic-Con type thing.
Yeah.
And it's just like, we're gonna fucking train on putting down fires. We should have everything here ready to do it.
Yeah.
Let's set something on fire. Oh no.
Yeah.
The wind blew it.
What a fucking curveball. Beverly, you dumbass.
Stupid motherfucker.
Put the water on. Cut your tree lines.
Yeah, that's right. Fuck.
Okay, so that was our news. So what do you want to dive in? We want to dive into
That was communication.
Communication, language. We go on this topic a lot because it's so important.
Yes. So the way people talk today, someone from today would have a hard time properly communicating an idea to someone 20 years ago.
Yep.
And that sounds like a long time, but it's really not a long time at all. It's a very short time. And both of these people are one generation apart. And both of these people are in the workforce at the same time. They're in the government at the same time. And both of these people are influencing the world, and they can't fucking communicate whatsoever. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that they change words. You can't just change the meaning of a word to win an argument. Just like the governments who just change laws to like win court trials. You can't do you can't do that. That should be illegal to a degree.
Yeah, absolutely. Or at least have the grace to, because we do evolve, but you need to have that understanding that you're not the only one that exists. This generation of people that decides to change something, and then the backlash that goes with it. And that's not even so much just the way language is kind of written and changed. That's also like, you think about someone who's 60 years old, the life and times they were brought up in. It doesn't always translate well. And they're met with, I think most of us meet them with a fair level of grace and understanding, but there's that percentage of us that want to bring the hammer down on these old people and say that, you're spreading misinformation, or you're full of hate speech. And I'm sure there's some crusty old people that are just really into being miserable, but a lot of them are just stuck in their times, and that's the language they grew to understand.
Yeah.
Like navigating the N-word with my grandma, like when she grew up, there was a particular N-word that was used to describe a certain group of people.
Yeah.
And then there was a lighter version that came out in that same time period that was accepted as being like politically correct.
Yeah.
And she used that until she was dead, but it didn't carry malice.
And just to point it out, the current president of the United States still, to this day, uses that word sometimes to describe them. Just
Like
putting
the
that out there.
severe one or the not so severe?
The not so severe one.
Yeah.
The one that ends with an O.
Yeah. Just trying to spell it in my mind. Sorry.
So just putting that out there, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. But and again, like that lens of time is important. Like you said, you can't just change something, and they did that with the trucker rallies with violence.
Yeah.
And I think they did it with weapons too.
Well, yes, with the Canadian law now that just again it passed even more. Bill C-21. This is in Canada removing even more fucking guns for people to use, which is they're saying they're removing it for like gun control, not gun control, but to prevent criminals from using guns. But it's just like they're criminals; they're already using illegal guns.
Yeah.
Like.
I know, and we're all aware of that argument, except for like 13 people who are just completely
Everyone
stupid.
Everyone that's
stupid.
not in the government, everyone that's not in the government,
Yeah.
is aware of this. But
Yeah.
the people in the government, for some reason,
Yeah.
just doesn't click.
Yeah.
Sorry, sidetrack. Go about the language.
Language. No, I think I was just curtailing on.
Okay, but yeah, so. In the gun control, they changed the definition of certain guns in order to ban
them. Mm-hmm.
Again, gun control could be a whole topic on its own, but like I'm just pointing to examples that are happening right now where they're using language and changing it just to fuck with people.
Yeah. Benefit their own agenda.
Yeah. Like another major thing with language is medical. Mm-hmm. Medical terms should remain what they originally were.
Absolutely.
Because once you start changing what the definition of certain things are when you are in the medical field, you put people's lives in danger. Mm-hmm. You put the careers of doctors in danger because they may read something that is that may make them do a misdiagnosis or may accidentally do something they're not supposed to do.
Yeah.
And it's really pushing a limit of reason and logic, right? Because I'm all for, like you said, growing with the times and all that.
Yeah.
But you can grow with the time and still be logical in what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Right?
Well, and you don't have to bastardize language just for the hell of it.
Yeah.
You know, like there's lots, and another part of that, the language thing is when, again, like a pop culture takes a term and a portion of that culture uses it nefariously, like retard.
Yeah.
It wasn't a pandemic of people going around calling people with a disability fucking retards.
No.
You know?
And
like,
most of the
if
time,
you follow the definition of the word, the actions of your friends and family or that stranger were in fact retarded.
Yeah.
You know, and all that happens is you just make them take another word, and then we fight it with the same defense. Well, now it's offensive, so you can't say it.
Yeah.
And now we're going to penalize you and scrutinize you.
Mm-hmm. The whole history of the word retard, I'm going to go on a tangent about retard.
Yeah.
The whole history of the word retard, first off, it's a French word.
Yeah.
And it was taken by the English. And in French, it just means like slow. That's all it means.
Yeah.
And it was the English used it as a medical term to describe someone with severe mental health problems, or mental disability, not necessarily problems.
Yeah.
But
recovery.
like in common speak, people would just use it to mainly just insult each other, and most of the time it was like people playing video games. It was amongst your friends, that kind of stuff, and it was I legitimately, I don't think I've ever seen someone call someone who's mentally disabled retarded.
Yeah.
It's only always been towards friends in a playful manner.
Yeah.
Right?
Retard is definitely one of my favorite words ever created. I think it is so fitting. And again, like back to the way it was used was generally to signify that, man, what you're doing is stupid. Mm-hmm. That's retarded.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go to your house, to go back to my house, to go back to your house, to get your stuff, to come back. Like,
yeah, it was used to say like you're not thinking straight.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. But we just crushed it into one word.
Yeah,
and it's beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and if you put "fuck off" in front of that, that is the best line that will ever be created, and nothing will ever surpass it. Because if you hear someone say "fuck off, retard" to somebody else, no matter what, you will most likely start laughing.
Yeah,
because it's heavenly gold for your ears.
Yeah.
And if you can get comfortable with saying it, your life will become much easier, much faster.
Let's do it all together now.
Let's do it together. Let's say on 3.
On 3.
3,
2,
2,
1.
1. Fuck off, retard. Oh, you missed the fuck off part.
I was just gonna say retard.
Oh, but I like the the whole thing.
Off. All right.
I have to have the chain.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah. Now we'll just pause in silence. But again, like the more they do that, and we've done it, you see that list growing exponentially now. You know,
of words that you're not allowed to say.
Of words you're not allowed to say with historical meaning.
Yeah.
You know, and they've come to describe something. Mm-hmm. And just because a small group of people have used it maliciously doesn't change the definition of the word and like why it's there to
absolutely
to identify.
And like you said, it's starting to get to a point where the saying you're not allowed to say certain words is just essentially becoming censorship.
Yeah.
To prevent you from saying certain things. Because now it's a slippery slope. Anyone can just say this word offends me and it should be banned.
Yeah.
And that word could be a word that contradicts the things you say. For instance, the word pedophile is now starting to be one of those words where it's like, ooh, are you allowed to say it? Are you not allowed to say it? Because members of the LGBTQ are pushing for to change it to minor attracted people or minor attracted individuals, which is pedophiles. And they're pushing for that to become an accepted thing. Yeah. And using the word pedophile to describe them, they're saying, "Oh, that's discriminatory and like offensive." And it's like,
but
yes,
that's what you're doing.
Yeah, like fuck you, you know.
There was a comedian I watched recently, and he broke down all of the files. Mm-hmm. But he said the problem with those is that you can't describe those and break into language and talk about what they mean without looking like a pedophile.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's true.
But I mean, they all have their own tier system for the age groups that they
there's
affect.
There's like hebephile, and then there's
there's a couple of H1s.
There's a few of them. Yeah.
But again, if you break in and like I think it's weird these two cultures that are meeting because like one is still very. We don't want to accept any of that information. It's still like taboo. We don't really want to talk about it. And the other one is just meeting it with a sword and saying like, if you use this, we're cutting you down. Whereas the other, it's weird. It's a weird dynamic.
So, and where this comes into the whole communication thing is now that there's a lot of words that we're not allowed to say, it makes it even more difficult for us to properly, effectively, and quickly transmit ideas to each other. Yeah. Right?
Absolutely.
So, and this is where, and with that, not only is it becoming difficult for just the average person to communicate, when it comes to the formation of laws, the way police can enforce people, the way you should interact with someone, the way your boss can interact with you, co-workers and all that kind of stuff, now becomes a very murky area. Yeah. Where it's almost impossible to do anything. For instance, people who are in positions of power, not saying that they're good people per se, I'm just saying, you know, the average boss is not a bad person, right? Yeah. We only have the story of like the bad ones pop up, but the average person who's your manager, who's your boss, he's an okay person. And
or she, come on.
Or she, yeah. They're an okay person normally. Yeah. But they could just misstep in the way they say a certain thing. Yeah. And their entire life can be ruined. But and it's not just that. It's also they sometimes now can't even communicate or discipline or because effectively direct their employees because they can't. Some of them, like, they're not even allowed to call someone you, like, hey, you do this. Like, it's becoming impossible for there to be a chain of command. In regular society.
Well, and I think if you probably brought that point up to a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but a small percentage of people right now, they would disagree with it. They would think it's ridiculous. There should not be a thing as chain of command. There is no such thing as a hierarchy. Why can't we be autonomous and do our jobs? And some of those systems are great. But, I mean, there are certain areas where you need to have that chain of command. And I think a lot of that goes to how we receive information, right? You should be able to have a conversation with somebody without it being offensive. You know, it can be not critiquing, but discussing you know, maybe your inability or a better way of doing a performance, and then people take that as like, he's harassing me or she's harassing me.
Well, again, those are the same people that probably had like trophies for losing.
Yeah, right. But because they're not used to being told no.
Yeah.
No, you have to be here on time. No, you can't wear that here. No, you have to have this done by 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I mean, for those people, if you don't like your job, then move on.
Yeah.
And let that place of employment hire somebody that needs that job and is willing to follow through with that.
Did you see that video of the Starbucks employee? I don't want to call him a guy because who knows now? It's a Starbucks, but it looks like a dude, and he's crying about how like, oh, I have to work one day every weekend, and my boss is telling me that I'm gonna have to stay late, and he's like bawling his fucking eyes out. And it's to me, that is the most pathetic thing I've ever seen in my fucking life.
Yeah, it's brutal. And I mean, like, if that doesn't fit your fucking vibe and your lifestyle, bro, like, just leave.
Yeah.
But you don't have to cry about it. And, like, those videos are gaining a tremendous amount of traction where it's people complaining, but you get one side of the story.
Yeah. Like, we don't know what the boss had to deal with. Like, we have no... This person could be complaining about every step of the fucking way. This person could be a detriment to the company in some shape or form.
Absolutely.
And we only see their side because everyone wants... I don't even want to call them underdogs because they're not really underdogs. But, like...
They're just assholes.
They're a victim. And... The Western society is obsessed with victims and being victims.
Yeah, and it's gross.
Yeah.
And like those companies don't give a shit.
No, they
don't
really
give a shit about how somebody is going to get, and they know like most of those places won't even name drop because they know those companies will just sue them into oblivion and crush the shit out of them.
Yeah.
And once the true story comes to light, because I can guarantee you most of those companies are going to come heavily armed with, oh yeah,
you were late on this day, did that.
Yeah. And we're not talking 5 minutes. You were 15 minutes late. You didn't call in for work. You didn't show up.
Yeah.
You know, like, you probably have a little bit of a history there.
Yeah.
But, and again, like, just goes to the point of they're not going to out these companies because they don't want to have to deal with the fact that they're a piece of shit.
Yeah. And it's this, the effect of this on the workforce and the culture of the younger generation of workforce. I'm not talking millennials, or is it Gen Z? No, Gen Z is after millennials.
I can't remember any of those.
Anyway, I'm talking 16 to 24-year-old, that generation, right? Yeah. There are very, very, very few among them, and I'm not insulting all of you. I'm just saying, a very large portion of you are pathetic and can't work.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know what it's like to get up and to actually work. And now they'll put the argument, oh, well, you're slaving away at something, right? And it's your fault because you're not standing up for yourself and all that. But you have to understand that there's a certain point of standing up for yourself, right? And wanting a better pay, better work environment, and just being a bitch.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
Because there are certain fields of work where it's just shitty work.
Yeah.
And there's no other way to do it. You have to manually do it.
Yeah.
Right? And the people who don't want to do those jobs and are stuck in, who want to go through this, like, I can bitch and complain about everything and make YouTube videos about how much of a victim I am, they're working on replacing you. Like 100%. A robot will replace you.
Absolutely.
McDonald's just opened a fully autonomous restaurant.
Yeah.
Okay. So any of you working fast food who are in fast food or folding clothes or whatever the fuck, you have a job. Good for you. I'm not criticizing that. I'm criticizing the people who are in those jobs complaining about it. You're going to be jobless soon.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's going to happen way faster than you think.
Oh yeah.
So shut up. Get some good work ethic because you're going to need to switch career eventually.
Yeah.
To something 100%. That's a lot harder.
Yeah.
Than serving a coffee.
Absolutely. Well, and like, that's scary. I think when that time does happen, this is kind of outside of our topic.
Yeah.
But it's going to be awesome because there's going to be places. One thing I think, let me rephrase. One of the things that I think we've started to lack with all of the stuff that we're fed through media and news and, you know, world climate is we forgot about really just interacting with people. And like, you work in the service industry. It doesn't mean you're a slave. It doesn't mean you have to take bullshit, but servitude is part of that thing. If people want a coffee, greet them with a fucking smile.
Yeah.
Have a great day. That's the end of your dialogue if you want it to be. Thanks for shopping at such and such a place. Here you go. And also, don't fuck up something that's super simple. And I mean, if that's the problem, like there's a Tim Hortons by my place, it has got to be the most awful, painstaking thing to do. And again, like to defend your point about this younger generation, there are 3 young people standing in the middle. There's one old person
Doing all the work, right?
doing the work, and then one decent young human being, and then a lazy manager who you can generally see sitting in his chair, not doing anything. And these people aren't on break. They're just talking.
Yeah.
And then they'll look at the clock and be like, oh, we better do something.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, we blow the people that react to those situations, you know, like, oh, you're such an asshole, you're so impatient. At a certain point, when you have to do that shit all the time, it is frustrating as fuck. They try to escape. Those people will try and, you know what, I'm going to switch from this coffee to this coffee.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to this location on my way to work. I'm going to make changes. And then you have to put up with a bunch of bullshit from other people. You're going to have traffic that sucks. Then you have to service that sucks. Then you go to a grocery store and that sucks. They reach their limit with people just being entitled, bratty little assholes.
Yeah.
And I think that probably goes higher than just that 24 mark. Like, there's a lot of people in
there
30
are,
to
there
35
are.
that have absorbed that culture and think that it's okay to just be a pompous dick and super self-centered. You know, self-serving belongs in your life, and you should take care of your own well-being and service. But, like, also be respectful of getting the fuck out of someone's way or doing your job.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll back up what you just said there about the service industry. I read a story 2 days ago of someone who was proud at the fact. So this person had a job. Their job was they were a caterer, a server at for catering. They were catering a group, an organization that is, in a general sense, a Catholic organization that does Catholic things, whatever the fuck that is. They had this thing, and they had speakers and all that. So one of the first speakers at this organization was a woman talking about abortion. Now, one of the servers who... Hey. That's you guys. We got the little pieces back. Put your bones back in. Yeah. No vacuum for you.
Anymore, yeah.
So the first speaker was this, a woman speaker who was going to talk about abortion.
Yeah.
One of the servers whose job, they voluntarily got this job to work for this company, and they're aware of this company's policies that they don't care what organization you are. If you hire us, we will cater to you.
Yeah.
I'm very okay with that. But they got that job with them. And this organization is Catholic, and and this particular speaker was against abortion.
Yeah.
So this server decided to heckle
the speaker
at this organization, and eventually the heckling went back and forth, and the server decided to walk out after throwing their tray of shit, and they walked out.
Tray of shit.
Their tray of shit. Now the manager went to them. This whole story, okay, I'm getting to, is from the server themselves.
Yeah.
I don't have everyone else's version. I just have the server's version. So the server said that the manager came up to them and tried to stop them from leaving. Not physically, but asked them to stop and go back to work and all that. They walked out, and then one of the organizers, they were catering, came out and tried to communicate with the person.
Yeah.
And we're like trying to say, hey, listen, it's not made to offend you. It's the speaker. This is what we do. Can you please, you're welcome to come back and continue working. And this person took the $89 in tip that they had made.
Yeah.
And I might add, this is the first speaker. So they made $89 in tips within the first hour. Right? Yeah. So they took this money and they threw it at the organizer and left. And they were proud of their behavior. They were proud that they did that.
Yeah.
And it's, to me, that is mind-boggling. First off, you volunteered to be a caterer.
Yeah.
With this company that caters to everybody, which means you are an extension of that organization, which means regardless of your personal beliefs, while you are under that organization, Your personal beliefs don't fucking matter. Do your fucking job. Shut your fucking mouth.
100%.
Take the money that they're giving you and go the fuck home. Then complain on the internet about it all you fucking want.
Yeah.
Right? And even in that person's story, everyone else involved seemed to be really nice and understanding of this person's...
They try to cater to them.
They tried to cater to them.
Which is great. But, and I think that's where we see so much just this altercation, just the conflict.
Yeah.
They never talk about this organization, like the organizer, the organization, the people behind it being like, we get that you have your own personal beliefs. We'll accommodate you so that you don't have to feel under attack and you can still be employed.
Yeah.
And that's an awesome thing for that employer to do.
Yeah.
And then just so that there is one important part, I think, with the service industry. Again, like, doing your job is important. But I think also sharing and having a company, like, companies have to get to the point where they can start backing up. Like, I have friends that work at a gas station. The stuff that they get said to them and, like, being touched, that stuff is awful. That stuff, stand up for yourself.
I agree.
That stuff, record.
There's a level, right? Where, like, that person, like the one in the story I was telling, about them losing their shit over a speaker, that is crossing the line. If someone touches you, like if someone in the crowd came up to that server and touched them or insulted them to their face or something, that server is perfectly in their right to just throw the fucking hard-boiled eggs right at their face.
Absolutely. And I don't want people to think that, like, servers don't have to go through, and people that are in customer service. And so for both those groups, so the people that want to be dickheads and explode, maybe save it. Figure it out. Save it for the person who's actually an asshole. Yeah. Not the person that's trying to... And we all have to remember we have bad days. And then for the servers, when people are doing... Or the people in service industry are doing that shit, make your business accountable. They're there to protect you. Yeah. So if someone's grabbing your ass and titties or your dick, because that happens... Yeah. Your company should be stepping up. And don't let it slide. That guy or girl who's crossed that line should be held accountable. Don't just turn it into a story and brush it under the rug. Because that's going to just keep happening. You have to be like, don't. Or someone who wants to come in and fly off the handle because you charge them extra for the eggs. Pay attention, apologize, but don't let them treat you like shit. Yeah. You know, there's some dynamic that has to go through there. And then circling back on top of our language and why it's important, difference has now been associated with hate. Yeah. If you have a difference of an opinion, that means you're a hateful person. Yeah. And, like, that's part of this language that we have to be more careful with how it's established. What are you doing?
I was just adjusting the audio so it picks it up better.
Oh, nice. Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, like, and how those words develop, and I mean, like, going back to that lady calling the Canadian flag a symbol, the new modern symbol for Nazism. Yeah. Like, that's insane. Yeah. You know, and then, being able to articulate language, having the standards there of language, if we have to change things to let it evolve with society, there has to be some programs behind that. The government or whatever body, even a club or organization, you can't just change a word now because you've decided that's what it means. Yeah. And then expect everyone to fall in line and then villainize someone for that. You have to respect people's timelines, where they came into things. And that's why, like, those subcultures can be so dangerous.
And here's the thing too, is at a certain point, you can't just control other people. Like, that's what it comes down to. It's these people trying to control other people in whatever tiny way they can. Yeah. Right? They'll start off by controlling what you're allowed to fucking say. Right? The words you're allowed to use, I should say, not what you're allowed to say, but the words you're allowed to use. And then it goes up the scale from there, where it eventually turns into, like, if you're not banging a tranny, then you're homophobic.
Which is, and again, like, it's just insane. And, like, that's become a popular thing where they're stating, like, if you don't find me attractive, you're fat phobic. Yeah.
That's not how it works.
That's not how it works. Yeah. And then they say, well, you can't hide behind a preference.
Yes, you can.
Having glasses is a preference. No, it's the same thing. You have a preference. And for the people that believe that, genuinely believe that just because you're not attracted to a larger person or not a biological person of the sex, they don't hate you. Yeah. And they don't want anything bad to happen to you. Yeah. But they have a preference. I have a preference for biological vaginas.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah, but again, like, I don't hate those people, and I have strong fundamental beliefs that go against theirs, but that doesn't mean like I'm hunting them down in some kind of like Jeepers Creepers van beating up trannies. Like, you can still live a life, and like I have people in that community, and we have crazy good conversations.
Yeah,
and we've educated each other, but we've never had sex with each other because we have a preference.
Yeah, it's that whole thing. You know how like a lot of times they'll say like men and women can't be friends because like reasons?
I hate that saying.
That's the dumbest shit ever. Absolutely, a man can be friends with a woman he's not attracted to.
Yeah,
if he's attracted to her, then it doesn't get ended. Then it doesn't work.
And someone was lying. If you put those two, and if they're not attracted, you put them on a desert island, chances are they'll probably have sex.
Yeah.
But I mean, if they have a normal life functioning in society, there is a chance that it is platonic.
Yeah.
Is it 100% all the time? No.
Yeah.
Hoes be hoes. But
Yeah.
like some of those women are straight up stand up people, and same with the men.
Yeah.
They're not looking just to crush things.
Yeah.
We have a bunch of motivational speakers that are spouting off saying that like men don't want to hang out with women. It's part of the game. It's part of the hunt. And those guys are fucking retarded.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know?
That's. Do you want to go into that topic? Because I have a lot of hate.
Yeah,
on that section.
Difference.
No, it's hate.
No, it's hate. I hate those guys.
Fuck, I hate those guys. Yeah. Like, see, like in that whole like aspect of like players, quote unquote, and like those male coach types that are telling you like this is what you got to do to get with chicks and all this kind of crap. You'll see it often. Like they have like there's podcasts there, the ones where there's like there'll be like 8 OnlyFans models and like 3 dudes that like all their whole life is just sitting at the gym. Yeah. And then like they'll talk about stuff like if they know shit. Yeah. But those types.
Yeah, they're definitely not sitting in a bar and eating fucking fruit tarts.
No. You want to have your kids listen to us. We know what we're talking about.
Don't do that. Okay, go ahead.
Those types, right? I hate those types. Like, I will signal that I hate Andrew Tate, right? I hate him.
Yeah.
I know you have different feelings for him. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I hate him. I think he's a hypocrite. I think I don't like using the word misogynist, but he's really close to me using that word.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not. But my main thing with him is he's a fucking hypocrite. I don't trust him because he tries to hide his accent. That's something I really don't fucking like. Someone who tries to hide their accent doesn't make sense in my head why they do that.
Just be authentic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those are the 2 main reasons. A lot of things he says is completely ridiculous and makes no fucking sense. So like the hypocrite thing, right? I'll go with the hypocrite thing. He's been so there's his official stance on things is I only have sex when I'm in a relationship with someone. Yeah. This is fucking bullshit. Yeah. We also have him like candid saying to a girl, he's like, I'll have sex with you. I only have sex with women if it's for love or for money. Yeah. Right? He said both. But the thing is, and then in that same interview where he's saying like, oh, I only have sex with people that I'm in love with. He also says things like, I don't masturbate. I think porn is disgusting, blah, blah, all this kind of stuff. And it's just, that is the most hypocritical thing on the fucking face of the earth because you made your fucking living off porn. Right? You know that,
Did
right?
he? No.
Yes. He ran a campsite.
Really?
That's how he got rich.
No way.
That's how he's rich.
Shit.
He ran a campsite. He had, I think he said at his height, he had like 12 girls in 4 different apartments working the campsites 24/7.
No shit.
That's how he's rich. He's a
pimp.
He's a pimp. Yeah, he's a legitimate pimp.
Yeah, PIMP. If you didn't, now you know.
Yeah, and it's from this campsite thing that he ran in. What country is he from? The one with the gypsies. What's that country with gypsies?
Albania?
Not Albania. That's in South America, I think. Eastern European country that has the one with the gypsies. I forget what it's called. Anyway, he's from there, and that's where he had a cam operation there. Yeah, and then moved to California in the U.S. and started a new one there. That's where that whole sex traffic. I know you don't agree with the sex trafficking thing, but it's from his time in Eastern Europe where the sex traffic thing comes from. But he started doing the same thing in the U.S. with like cam girls and that kind of stuff, and that's where he got really big and really rich. And then he wanted to be famous, right? That was his main goal. This is not me saying this. This is him saying this when he first popped up. He wanted to be rich. He wanted to be famous. So what he did is he had this school, like player school.
Yeah.
He would tell guys on how to pick up chicks. Again, I haven't like actually bought his program or anything like that. I've just seen like clips of it, and I'm just like, there's no way this works. This is the most ridiculous thing ever.
Yeah.
But
we do live in ridiculous times.
we do live in ridiculous times. And when he had all these guy followers, right, on this player school, he told all of them to just blow. He started an Instagram. I think it was Instagram or Twitter, one of the two, something like that.
Yeah.
And he told all the followers on there to just repost his shit over and over and over. Just repost his stuff to make him famous. And that's how he got famous, by literally just manipulating algorithms and telling people to just make him famous.
That's wild.
That's how he got famous. So Andrew Tate, I hate him. I respect the hustle and the way he was able to move up in the world from where he was before. I don't agree. Everything he says to me, I don't listen to because it's just complete fucking bullshit. It's hypocritical.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, oh, at first he's like, I'm a hardcore Christian. Then he converts to Islam. And then for a while, I was seeing some stuff, people saying he was actually Jewish because he had a Jewish passport, an Israeli passport. So none of this shit makes any fucking sense to me. Also, like the whole aspect of like, oh, his dad is from Britain, his mom is from the US, but he grew up in Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
Again, none of this shit makes sense, so I don't really trust the dude. But I respect the whole self-made in a sense type thing.
Yeah, through being a pimp.
Through being a pimp and his dad being rich. But
oh, his dad's rich? See, I did not know those two nuggets.
His dad...
I've never dove that deep into him.
His dad is we've never seen them in the same room or the man himself say that dude's his son, but his dad is apparently a world-renowned chess player.
Okay.
And his mom's a waitress.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, see?
Yeah.
At least there was no class separation in their family, so that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. See? So like I do share some different views. I think the majority of his stuff is to appease the masses of social media and is created to be inflammatory.
Yeah, absolutely.
To push things. And then like going through...
That's what I mean when I respect it. Like he knows how to play the
well,
field. That's what he's doing, right?
He got people to do that for him. He knew that saying certain things this way and certain things this way. But I also think like there's more substance to him than we give him credit for. Genuinely, maybe not so much in the being, player or whatever. But I think like some of his
looks like Golem.
Yeah, he looks ridiculous.
Yeah,
like you have to have that much money to look good.
Yeah,
like,
I actually, sorry, I don't want.
Go ahead.
Have you seen him since he's been out of jail? I actually prefer the look
of him
like
out
of jail.
Man.
And I'm just like, oh, look at that! You like fucking grew balls on a dick.
Yeah.
All right. Fine.
And a beard. Because they grow in tandem.
Yeah. It's like finally hide that ugly fucking weird chin of yours.
Weird chin. Yeah. Stop smiling.
Yeah.
But like, and I think that again, there's lots of people that try to listen to and put my best foot forward to listen to everybody.
Yeah.
Because someone can always bring something new into your life.
Yeah.
Even if, there's probably a fairly high percentage of things that Andrew Tate says and spouts off about that I don't need to take with me. Yeah. There are some lessons and some anecdotes and some perspectives that I do agree with. Mm-hmm. And I think that we have a limited source of heroes for masculinity. And it's kind of put us in this position of like, at least he's championing it, kind of.
Yeah.
So when he says like the really off-color, fucking crazy, stupid, womanizing things, not a huge fan. When he's talking about being responsible and duty, like I can get behind those statements. We do have a duty, and that's not that just for men. It's for men and women. It's for humans. We all have a duty when we're given the gift of life. That's part of what comes with it. Yeah. To make the world a better place, to leave it a better place than we got when we got here. To get up and fucking do your job, and not bitch about everything. Yeah. Like I think he does have meritable points.
But see, here's the thing though: is like the points that he's making are points that people have made throughout all of history.
Yeah, and I won't dispute that either. But he's learned that from something, and I think that's been forgotten. to a degree.
Yeah, it has.
And again, it's not a majority of his things, but there's some statements I was like, fuck, bang on, man. Like, that's great.
Yeah.
I'll never call you a top G, but like,
that to me is the most ridiculous fucking
Yeah.
statement to call someone. It's just like, oh, a top G. Oh my God. Sit the fuck down, bud.
Yeah. Top goof. Like, get the fuck out of here. But like, it's part, and again, I think most of that is part of his persona.
Yeah.
Most of it is part of his brand that he's created for social media.
Yeah.
You know, and he knows that the cameras are always on, so he has to be always on.
Yeah.
But I guarantee, like, if you got him chilling and you're just smoking cigars, he's like, fuck, man, I can't wait till this is done so I can retire.
Yeah.
You know, like, I have my fucking stuff. I'll find a way to bow out and move on.
Yeah.
And, like, fighting, anybody who's fighting the Matrix generally gets at least a hall pass, you know, because, like, I believe, like, the Matrix exists. You know, we've been put in this system now from society and government.
Can you specify what you mean by the Matrix, please?
The Matrix? So
Yeah.
for me, the Matrix...
I need to know where we are.
Okay.
So like, just explain to me what you mean by the
Well, it's
Matrix.
like zeros and ones, and this guy Keanu Reeves.
No. I was like, oh my God.
Just kidding. So me for the Matrix is kind of being put in the way I see it is the box that we're kind of put in. So that like you have to have material objects to be happy. You have to have a certain kind of status to be happy. You have to operate in a certain system to be happy. That would be like the nutshell, very simplified version of it. Like I can go off in like little tangents,
okay.
but
I understand what you mean by that.
It's essentially a box.
Yeah,
It's a cell.
I get what you mean now. Okay. I just wanted to. I wasn't sure what you meant by the Matrix.
Do you think the Matrix is? I should also like
back to our community. Sorry, I'll let you finish.
Before we get into that, part of that Matrix would also be would have to do a large part with the information and communication that we have. So that would be part of that programming. You're a robot.
Yeah. so my version, back to like you were saying, back to the whole communication thing, the changing of words and stuff. Now the Matrix has been popularized, the word, by Andrew Tate, and the way you described it.
Yeah.
Has been popularized like that and has changed the meaning of what the original word the Matrix means. To me, when someone says the Matrix, unless they were to explain it like you did, I'm just like, oh, okay, they think we live in a simulation. Perfect. Yeah. And I would leave it at that. They're fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But, see, now you explained it to me, right? And that's why I asked, too.
Yeah, which is awesome. Yeah. Ask more questions and be okay with it.
Yeah. So to me, you're asking me what I think the Matrix is. So I think the Matrix is that. The 1 zeros, what you see in the movie. Yeah. That to me is what the Matrix is. If you're talking about the spirit of what you meant when you asked me what that question to answer it, I think it's more of the culture that you identify with and the culture that you propagate. Yeah. That to me is Matrix. Your Matrix. Yeah. Right? Because you and me, we have very similar lives, but also very different lives in different ways, right?
Yeah, and different perspectives.
And different perspective on things. And it's entirely formed on our past experiences. Mm-hmm. So, to me, for me, someone like Andrew Tate and that I have zero use for in my life. I think they're dumb for the most part, right? Yeah. I can see why you like him. You explained it to me. I understand why you like him. Because he pushes these older ideas forward, right?
With traditional.
These traditional ideas, to a degree, traditional.
To a degree, yeah. And I think, that needs like a big asterisk. Like, I do pick and choose the information I accept from him.
And I think that's a good thing. I think you should pick and choose information everyone. Yeah. Right?
I have a point to piggyback off of your next statement.
Okay. Because, I'm going to switch to another major character here. What's his name? Peterson.
Jordan
Peterson, right?
He was one of mine, yeah.
Yeah. So I remember when Jordan Peterson first became famous. I remember seeing his first interview there on TVO, on TV, actually. Yeah. And I had no idea who... Well, I had a rough idea who he was because I had heard of the story and I watched the thing on TVO. And I was like, wow, this guy's fantastic. He's a genius. He's fantastic. Everything he does is gold, right? Yeah. And over the past 5 years or something since he's been famous, my opinion on him has changed, right? So I still think he's a genius when it comes to psychology and the effects on sociology and that kind of stuff, right? Yeah. and the whole thing when it comes to the laws and transgender and all that stuff, I think he knows everything he's talking about, and he's super fucking smart. The second he jumps out of that, he loses me instantly.
Yeah.
He tries to talk about world politics and the economy and things like that. I listen to what he says, and I'm not saying I know everything when it comes to world politics and the economy and that kind of stuff, all right? Yeah. I'm far from being the smartest person when it comes to that shit. But I listen to what he says, and I'm just like, wow, you really have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, you missed some of those points. And I agree. But and again, I think that's why it's important to listen to everybody's perspective, because I think there would be some overlap based on his credentials into certain aspects of that field.
Yeah.
But unless you take the time to learn the rest of those aspects of that field, like your opinion will fall short because you don't understand what else. Like maybe in 10 more years when he keeps reading and the government takes his fucking degrees away, he'll be the best economist in the world.
Yeah.
Which I also think, despite that fact where maybe he's trying to reach too far out of his where he should be talking. Yeah. I think someone stripping your credentials away when you've proven that
that is complete bullshit.
Yeah, that's insane. Yeah. But there's things that Jordan Peterson says that, again, like I agree with, especially for psychology, but there's, listening to like Gabor Mate, another famous fucking Canadian doctor, I like his approach more. It makes more sense to me to cultivate and educate children to be able to process and manage their emotions makes more sense to me than putting a kid in the corner because he doesn't know how to behave in a community. Yeah. So teaching them to be able to articulate that at such a young age, to me, seems like a far superior version than what Jordan Peterson's approach is. But again, taking the time to learn from different teachers lets you build a perspective and lets you kind of, both of them will ignite some inspiration and purpose into how you're going to find information. Yeah. Even if it's because, and like that could go with Andrew Tate. I hate what this guy says. Let me see. And you might find someone that's better at articulating what Andrew Tate is trying to say. Be like, okay, I can understand. He's a bit of a chauvinist dink, but like these things make sense. And same with like Jordan Peterson. Those things make sense, but like this is a better approach. Those things make sense, but I'm going to add this to it. Yeah. And so you have like a more well-rounded basis and perspective for life. Yeah.
And I do, and like you're saying, I do agree that you need bits and pieces from different people to make things happen, right? And if you base your entire knowledge pool off of what one person says, then you're just a shill is not the right word for it, but you're like a devotee. Like that's now your religion, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And you close your mind off to all other aspects in the world. Yeah. And this not only applies to the left, but it also applies to the right? It applies to both sides. So like if we're going back to the whole communication thing, like those people who are saying that if you don't agree with what I'm saying, or if you're using the word retard or whatever, it's hate speech. And those people, they think that and they truly believe it because they've closed themselves off to every other avenue. Yeah. They refuse to take information from anyone else.
And the chances, but the fucking nuts thing, not to jump in, but the nuts thing is that person will also turn around right now from almost every single community and say, we accept everyone. Yeah. No, you don't. No, you fucking don't.
You really don't.
Farthest thing from that.
Yeah. It's, they really don't accept, they only accept people that think like they do. Yeah. That's what it is. It's not accept anyone. It's accept people that think like they do. Yeah. And the worst part is that they know nothing when it comes to outside of their little realm and what their little gods tell them to fucking believe. So when you try to talk to them about, hey, listen, I'm like China, for example. Hey, listen, this Chinese people are probably okay for the most part, but the CCP, like the people controlling the Asian people, the Chinese people coming to Canada, they actually want to like hurt you. They want to steal your money. They want to like fuck up your shit. They'll lose their fucking mind when you say that to them, and it's just like, it's just because they don't know anything about the world. It's just they have zero concept. It's like Canada, like in a general sense, the country we are the closest to being at war with is China. Yeah. Because China is constantly attacking us. Yeah. And these people, for them, is just like, oh, you're being racist. And it's like, no, I'm not being racist. I have nothing against Chinese people.
Yeah.
It's the
CCP.
The CCP is like trying to fuck with you.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's not a lot of square head, round eye guys over there.
Yeah.
So unfortunately.
Yeah, it's like, that's just how it is. It's just Asian mainlanders.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, like, even if you stripped all that away and you had a house, you're going to ask that motherfucker some questions before you let him in.
Yeah.
Right? And you're going to have all kinds of people. There are going to be people that want to try and barge in. You'll stop them at the door and be like, I don't fucking think so.
Yeah.
But we're doing the same thing. You can come to our home. You can have a nice life here. We're going to ask you some questions. Oh, that's derogatory and racism. And it's the white man's fault. No, it's fucking not.
Yeah.
Like, you fucking retard.
It's like, if your whole goal to come here is to, like, fuck with you, or, like, to fuck with us, like, no.
The answer is no. And if there's a pile of people, and that happened more, I think it was more in the States. And it's an older expression, but like Hunter Biden tweeted it. If I gave you a bowl of like 100 M&Ms and 10 of them were poison, would you still eat them? And people could not connect the dots.
Yeah.
And they still labeled it as racism. But no, if there's a culture that promotes that, and it's not saying no, it's saying you guys are going to come in, but we're going to take our time. And social pressure pushed them to open the fucking floodgates.
Yeah.
And that's insane. And then, like, I have friends and they have family members that work in immigration. It is insane what people will do. And, like, they did it with the best intentions at heart to get someone an opportunity.
Yeah.
But if that person was bad, pooh, you okay? And, like, that was one instance. All these people that are on that person's level have the ability to do this and get people in. And just fucking cut through red tape and let...
Do you remember the migrant crisis? Well, the original migrant crisis in Europe? Like, what was it, 2018, 2019? Most of those people that were migrants were okay for the most part.
Yeah.
But almost every terrorist attack in the UK, or not the UK, but in Europe right now, is from people that came in as migrants. Because there was no screening whatsoever.
Yeah.
And people were coming in and saying like, oh yeah, I'm a 14-year-old boy from Afghanistan.
Yeah.
You'll look at him and he's like, dude, you're 47. You know, like he had a big beard, long fucking dirty ass hair, big fucking beard. And it like wrinkles like fucking sunspots and shit.
Yeah.
It's just like, you're driving a car. Like, you know, like it's just like, no.
I forgot my papers.
Yeah, it's like, no.
Yeah. Well, and again, like, you know, it's nice to want to live in a time where, you know, when people are crossing a border that you're not, you know, hitting them with whips and shooting them with rubber bullets and, you know, stomping them out. But they're not going to take no. Yeah. Like, they're hitting the number, and you see pictures like that in the States all the time, and people fucking losing their fucking mind. But again, those people don't have any understanding of the economic climate of their country. They don't have any understanding of what they've tried to do. Yeah. You can't just go to those people and be like, sorry, you have to get in line.
Yeah.
They're going to be like, fuck you. And you can't just go there unarmed with like a flag and be like, we just want to talk. Guess who dies then?
Yeah.
The Border Patrol guy. Right?
Yeah.
And like, they're illegal immigrants.
Yeah. Like right now in the U.S. in the southern border, there's a minor migrant crisis happening because of the war in Peru and the war in Mexico.
Yeah.
Right? So a lot of the people are trying to come across. Now, I remember seeing this photo. I won't get into the other bullshit about it, but there were some photos, and there people are like, "Oh, look at that! They're locking kids up in cages and that kind of shit." And it's just
the
like
ice stuff,
the
ice stuff.
And it's just like, listen, you know, like you're sending like what? Even if it's just 500 people showing up to the border in one shot, like first off, the Border Patrol people aren't just gonna fucking mow them down. They're not gonna shoot them. They're people. Right?
Yeah, they're human beings.
At the same time, it's just like you can't just roam free.
Yeah.
Right? So like
so they're not Buffalo.
Yeah, you know, like fuck.
Yeah, we're just gonna wait till the heat dies down and go back.
Yeah. No. There's a limit of what they can fucking do.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just like, listen, you can't roam free, so in this big cage you go.
Yeah.
Like what do you want?
Yeah.
To hand them like what, $100,000 and give them a house? Because that's what's happening. And guess what? It's fucking up your economy. It's the reason you're fucking poor.
110%. And again, people don't understand that.
Yeah.
It's fucking insane. And like, I get a lot of shit and pushback for this opinion too, though, is like, I can see having a system for refugees bang on, all for it. A real system that fucking weeds
For
that
real
shit out.
refugees.
For real refugees. But if you have problems at home, you don't move out of your house into your neighbor's house. Deal with the fucking problems at home, man.
Yeah.
There's a million of you. And like attracting that where like you can all just run away? No. Fucking pick up a rock, pick up a fucking sword, pick up whatever you need to do. Defend your shit. Because I guarantee you if someone said, we're going to take your house, I'm going to fucking move over my dead body.
Yeah.
You know?
And here's the thing. I agree with you to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Right? There's other, like, for instance, in Sudan right now. Like,
yeah.
That's a war that's going on in Sudan. It's a war that's going on that has nothing to do with the local population.
Yeah.
It's just two big major world powers coming in and just blowing up everyone's shit.
110%.
So, like, in a situation like that, the people who live there, they can pick up a rock all they want. What are they going to do?
Yeah.
Chuck it at a tank? Like, it'll just blow them up.
But when there's certain things like a terrorist organization growing a little bit out of power,
Yeah.
or a gang,
Yeah.
and like there's a certain strip of the globe where that's very prevalent,
Yeah.
or a tiny little island where the same thing, a gang with fucking guns, and also part of that is your government, your elected, you decided not to do fucking anything, you'd rather be lazy and not take part.
Yeah.
And then when shit hits the fan, you're like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
No, clean up your fucking mess.
Absolutely.
Make your bed.
Yeah.
You know?
And here's the thing. The current Mexican president, I respect him. All right? That's why there's like so many Mexicans coming across right now, is because he was like, you know what? Enough with the cartels. We're going to war.
Yeah.
And if anyone knows about the cartels in South America and especially Mexico,
Yeah.
they're fucking armed. All right?
It's not to the fucking
It's
teeth.
not. It's not like, you know, like in the U.S., like whatever street gang. No. These fuckers have tanks, like legitimate tanks,
Yeah.
right? So it's.
They invested all their drug money.
Oh yeah, they're smart. But like, so it is a war. Calling it anything else but that is false, because some of them are better armed than the fucking Mexican military.
Yeah.
So. Like, I respect the Mexican president for doing what he's doing. I understand that it's going to displace a bunch of the population that can't fight, you know. You got women and children, old people. Those people can't fight. And in situations like fighting like the Mexican cartels and stuff, those people are just used as targets.
Yeah, fodder.
So then the cartels use them to, like, demoralize population. So
Yeah.
I can understand them running, right? Yeah. But, like, yeah, I'm agreeing with what you're saying.
And
Fight your shit.
Like to every other, there's going to be specific instances.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, if you're in a position where like, fuck, we can't do anything about this, and you call in the UN, guess who owns fucking Sudan now? Guess who owns this part? If
Yeah.
you calling in someone, come and clean up our mess.
Yeah.
It's not like, okay, have a great day.
Yeah.
If they decide we're going to come in, but guess what? We're going to get paid to recover our costs.
Yeah.
Deal with that shit.
Yeah.
Don't be such a fucking bitch. Mm-hmm. You know, and there's so many people that come over here and they fucking complain and shit on everything about like how, and like, it's not that our system's perfect. And like those complaints have merit. The way they deliver them and they express themselves about them, completely wrong. Mm-hmm. You have an opportunity. And like, again, we go back to like our Canada. Our Canada is about being multicultural and having opportunity to have a better life. If you escape from something, don't come over here and then be like, we don't want to do Christmas because it's against our religion. Shut your fucking mouth.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Let that just be, and like most of that tradition is only that. It's not even a belief. It's just tradition.
Yeah. Most people don't even know the origin of Christmas. They don't even believe they're not even Christian or Catholic or any of that shit.
Yeah, and it's just, and like the whole thing about that is to be happy.
Yeah, it's an event that you do with your family.
Exactly. And you don't even have to celebrate. Just because someone says Merry Christmas to you doesn't mean you have to celebrate Christmas.
Yeah.
Right? It's just their way of like spreading joy.
Yeah.
So don't shit all over it. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so yeah. I don't like people coming here and bitching.
Yeah. Lost our shit on the immigrants there for a second.
Fuck you guys. But I mean, like, I think part of that, and it all goes back to the same system. And like, it goes back to language. Like, start fucking communicating. Mm-hmm. Start talking. Start asking questions. And like, that's a big point of the communications talk. People have to get comfortable with being asked questions and then asking questions.
Yeah.
And that's not, doesn't go to questioning you in like an authoritarian sense. People are trying to understand your perspective.
Yeah.
They're trying to understand where you're coming from. They're trying to clarify things. And we've weaponized language barriers in certain systems. Mm-hmm. when you call somebody, they know that the demographic, and it's not a conspiracy theory. They spend money to get this information.
Yeah.
Right? So when I do an intake with the insurance company, they're going to have a very pleasant person on the phone.
Yeah.
Typically female. They're upbeat. They're charismatic. We're going to take care of you.
Yeah.
When I do my follow-up, it's someone that you cannot communicate with.
Yeah.
And who has no real-world experience with the subject matter that you're talking about. Mm-hmm. And it makes you frustrated.
Yeah.
And they'll ask you to repeat your story.
Yeah.
To look for, and they know you're going to be getting frustrated. When you get frustrated, your story starts to fall apart. And not necessarily because you're not telling the truth. It's because you're fucking mad now. I want to get this done. I'm in pain and I need my money.
Yeah.
But and then they'll just fucking pick one little thing apart and tear you down.
Yeah.
And like all of those things we've discussed go back into feeding fucking racism.
Yeah.
You know, and again, it's not so much a hate for the color of their skin. It's the impact that you're having on somebody else's life.
Yeah. That's the thing when it comes to racism. Almost everybody that's racist, there's a deep-seated reason why of an event that happened. Almost everybody, yeah, that happened to them in the past. Like there's a reason. People don't just do things for for just willy-nilly. There's reasons why. There's certain behaviors, why they talk the way they talk, and why they believe the things they believe.
100%. So it's important to communicate and ask questions.
Yes, communicate, ask questions. Anyone that you're not allowed to question, they're the bad
guy. Wink.
Wink.
Yeah. You know who we're talking about.
Yeah, we all know who we're talking about.
All right.
Okay.
Communication's done. Fires are done. What was the other thing we talked about?
Well, we had
Zhao Wei was done.
Yeah, earlier you were talking. There are two other topics you want to talk about. Mm-hmm. You said Bob and you said WEF.
Yeah, but I want to circle back to those because they were popular and people are interested.
Okay.
So like I think we'll slate that for
you want to do that another day?
Shoot.
Okay, sorry, I misunderstood what you were saying.
We can kind of talk about just sharing experiences is spirituality and religion.
Okay.
And and free will.
Okay.
Yeah. So what do you believe in God and or a higher power? What's
your definition?
Shoot. Whatever you got. Does your belief system incorporate anything to that effect?
Okay, that's a loaded question because
bang bang.
I know. Like double barrels, man. I think it all has to do with what your definition of God is, or a God, or higher power, whatever. Yeah. My definition's different. Well, we'll assume our definitions are different.
Yeah.
To me, anything that is foreign enough and or more technologically advanced than us and or evolved in a different environment could be seen as a god.
Okay.
So I don't see anything as a god.
Okay.
So I don't believe in God, period. Logically, it's impossible that there are no superior beings to us. We are in a very young part of the universe. So to me, that there are definitely beings that are above us in a sense, where we would look at them and we would say that's a god because of what they can do, right? So no God in the religious sense. Higher beings, absolutely, whether that's aliens or other dimensional creatures or whatever. When it comes to free will, though, there is nothing that is controlling the individual human, but your consciousness is not your free will. So for instance, I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to have a sweet tart because I want to have a sweet tart, right? I didn't think I wanted a sweet tart. There's this inner part of your brain, biologically speaking, there's this inner part of your brain that makes a decision before all the rest of your brain does makes that decision for you. Yeah. And this part of the brain, we are unaware of it. We are not conscious to it. Mm-hmm. And this has been observed with CAT scans and that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. Are we talking about like the subconscious, or is this something entirely outside of that?
No, it's I forget exactly what's the actual part of the brain it's called, but there's like it's I guess you would say it's not your unconscious, but it's like beyond that. Anyway, it chooses every decision you will ever make, right? Because you don't make those decisions. Your consciousness does not make that decision. This part of you makes that decision. A lot of people refer to it as a lizard brain because it's the original part of the brains that we had when we were little sea creatures that were coming out.
Sea creature.
Yeah. And then everything else evolved around it. This little part of the brain is the one that makes the decisions, where everything starts. So, in terms of free will, consciously, no. Subconsciously, yes. That's my opinion on that.
Yeah. I don't have, like, when I grew up, I was raised Catholic.
Yeah.
I went to Catholic school. But that never really held any weight for me.
Okay.
I think that there's definitely a higher, just for easy framework, a higher power. There's...
Can I stop you?
Yeah.
Do you mean that in a religious sense, or do you mean that in the same sense that I meant?
I think more in like a spiritual sense.
Okay,
like
so
it's life, and the best way for me to describe it that would be the most accurate, I think, would be like an energetic, vibrational sense.
Okay, and you believe that to be in the same realm as religious, correct?
No, because I think religion and spirituality are different entities. So I think like
in the sense of like how God is in religion, you mean that in the same sense for this energy that you're referring to?
The higher power?
Yeah.
They would be in the same wheelhouse, but like, I don't think it's so much as it wouldn't be an entity in like a humanoid sense.
Okay.
It wouldn't be like a deity. So that's why I mean like it would be separate from...
Let me rephrase my question then. Would it be something that could be explained scientifically at some point?
I think so, and I think we're getting there.
Okay. That's what I needed to know. That's what I was trying to ask.
Yeah. No, I think... again, like I think it would definitely be in that wheelhouse where it could be explained by science, but because we don't have all of the information, and that there's that supernatural or that unseen part of it, it would be kind of goes in higher power spirituality because we can't quantify it in its entirety. But I think like I agree that your lizard brain makes all of your decisions unless you become conscious of like yourself and put work into program what your lizard brain like. It would still make those decisions, but I believe you could affect the programming of the decisions it would make.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Well, do you want me to like pick that apart?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's have this conversation.
Well, then wouldn't it be the lizard brain being the one telling you to program it? So in itself, it is the one doing that?
Yeah, but it could be saying, we want you to advance your programming without understanding what it's going to be programmed. Like, we want you to be conscious. We want you to evolve. We want you to gain more information. Like, it could initiate that that reflex or that willingness. Yeah. But it would be your discipline and your power to absorb that information, put it together to feed. Like, it would be a loop, right? Like, I'll have to bring it in and then process it and work through it.
Okay. I don't think I understand exactly what you're saying.
Like, if your lizard brain is telling you to evolve your consciousness. Yeah. So it would implement, like, evolve your consciousness. Yeah. We relate to this person or this book. Okay. We're attracted to it. Yeah. But your lizard brain could not predict the information that would come from that book. Yeah. Yeah. So
okay. I get it.
I believe that, like, yes, it would be the one that drives you to doing those things. Yeah. But I mean, you could also, like, you have that voice inside you that tells you to stay in fucking bed. Right? Yeah. Like, don't fucking do anything. Yeah. Push yourself to dopamine burnout. Mm-hmm. Just play video games for fucking 8 hours. Yeah. But you can make that collective choice to be like, no. Mm-hmm. I want to go for a run. I'm not going to eat pancakes. I want to have... I know. My lizard brain wins almost every time. I'm going to eat pancakes and play 8 hours of video games. Fuck you, healthy living. I smoke cigarettes. I'm not doing shit. But once in a while, like I win, and I want to be the best version of myself, so I'll apply myself to those things. But again, I think a lot of that helps, like like proven through science that everything vibrates at a certain level.
Yep.
And that your emotions control your own vibration against monitored by science.
Yes.
Right? Like you vibrate at a lower level, the lower you feel, and the higher you feel, the higher your vibration. And I think that the higher you vibrate, the higher megahertz or level that you vibrate at will ultimately improve your life. But I think that like that collective, like it would almost be related to like a Gaia. You know, like it doesn't necessarily have to be this liquid nature soul of the earth, but more it's the fields that you exist in.
What you're saying is like, what's the word there? It's like everything is connected, right?
100%.
Yeah, that's what you're going with.
Yeah.
It's like every entity has a connection to the other entity type shit.
Yeah. Well, and again, like there's theories that are proving that to be the case.
Well, do you want to go into the those files I sent you that the CIA released?
Yeah.
Because that sort of like proves your point.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I don't think any point is ever 100%, right? There's always going to be evolution to certain things, and like learning nuance and how the intricacies of those situations play out.
But like, so to strengthen your point, the CIA, what was it, like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, released their files on anything related to telekinesis.
Yeah.
And it basically confirms that telekinesis is a thing. I'm not going in, this is not conspiracy theory. This is like, this is the CIA saying this. Telekinesis is a thing, and everything, like you said, does vibrate, and everything has somewhat of a connection to each other, and you're able to manipulate, some people are able to manipulate that energy, right? So that whole thing sort of backs up what you're saying, right? Because you're essentially saying everything vibrates at a certain frequency. Well, that's a scientific thing. That's true. Yeah. But you're going with that, and you're saying that that connection is
your higher power.
Is your higher power.
Yeah, and that's the best way to sum it up.
Yeah,
100%. But I don't think, and it's not just the goats. With the CIA, like there's other stories that we've turned or labeled fairy tales or just good bonfire talk of civilizations, and like Egypt is another great way of having a deep understanding of how vibration and frequency works, and being able to utilize that to give themselves maybe the appearance of levitation.
Yeah.
And there's a monk dynasty or whatever they have similar stories that's how they were able to build their temples.
Yeah, the temple in the Himalayas. Yeah.
And again, maybe not to the level that they depict of a bunch of monks humming stones up a mountain.
Yeah.
But having an understanding that we've lost to be able to manipulate and move objects around using frequency and vibration.
Yeah. Well, have you seen the people using music? And they like get like a flat surface under it. They put a speaker, and then they put sand and stuff.
That guy's awesome.
And then like that does all sorts of cool shit.
Yeah, and different notes and different vibrations, different frequencies create different patterns.
Yeah, that shit's fucking cool.
Yeah, and like everything in our world is a pattern. There's some sense of
pattern. Oh, do you want to? No, let's not go. Do you want to?
Yeah, let's go there.
Ah, fuck. Okay, so you're talking about how the mathematical equation. I forget the exact name, but it looks like a seashell. It's it's like a circle that goes like this. As it gets smaller as it goes inside. Anyway, it's I forget what the actual term for it is, but it's everything in the universe in existence has this perfect mathematical equation to it. And what was it that you said again?
Everything's a pattern.
Everything, and it's all a pattern. Yeah. So the best example for it is seashells. You look at them, they have that perfect mathematical equation, but this also applies to things like flowers, cells, humans, eyes, galaxies. If you actually look at a galaxy from very far away, it does the same thing. Yeah. Pieces of wood, doesn't matter. It all has that perfect little circle of mathematics. And we can't explain why all that exists there when it comes to objects and anything, but it's all there. So
we should really find out the name of that equation.
I should really find out the name of that equation.
We should find it out and put it in the description below.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I'll look it up when I get home.
Yeah, but we're talking about the same thing, though, right? That's what you're referring to?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, so that...
Yeah, nothing's special. We are all made of the exact same shit.
Absolutely. You're all stardust. Everything around here is stardust.
Yeah, space farts.
Space farts, exactly.
We're made out of space farts. Yeah.
I still find it really cool how, like, technically speaking, you should be able to phase through objects, but you can't.
Yeah, yet. Yeah, well, but we're missing that understanding.
There's the missing understanding of it.
And again, like, that's something that's maybe not so much I'm sure phasing yourself through objects, but like devoting your life to cultivating that ability to affect matter with your mind. It would just take forever.
Do you think the reason the government made it so that only one frequency of music was allowed has to do with the vibration thing?
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with the vibration thing.
Yeah?
There was I think we talked about this before. I'm not sure if it's one of our other videos. He was a young rapper, and he recorded everything at a certain level of megahertz. Uh-huh. And, like, people would freak out at his concerts, but, like, freak out. Like, it was so euphoric and calming, and they felt together.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And, like, this oneness and this peace.
Keep telling me. You didn't tell me this last time. Keep going.
Well, so and then he started to gain a bunch of popularity, and he ended up being zeroed. I think it was zeroed.
Oh shit!
Yeah. But gone.
Fuck, that's cool. I'm gonna have to look that one up. That sounds interesting.
And the people, like, by all accounts, everyone who talked about it, and he knew science, like he knew vibration. He was like the modern Tesla. Like he looked at the world through frequency and vibration because he knew that mattered.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, that would lead into the conspiracy theory of, like, why there's a war on culture. You know, like, a lot of that goes back to not so much focused on vibration and frequency, but the things, you know, the quote-unquote rituals that they perform with how you hit certain notes and how your body moves and how you're in touch with nature. Like, a lot of those indigenous and native cultures, they all had a connection to...
That's true, eh? Like,
to the... You know, a greater, again, like, just for simplicity's sake, a higher power, a higher sense of self.
And you are right when it comes to the frequency of vibration. When you go back down, every tribal society, I'm talking Europe, Africa, all of them, their base music or whatever you want to call it is just beats, shit like that, right?
Yeah. Well, and they use different ones for different applications.
Yeah,
if you were going to war, it
was a different one.
It was a different one. If you were trying to find peace or cultivate or have a good crop, like they all had specific ideas of what kind of vibration and sound should be made to.
And I
manifest that.
While we're on the topic of, like, music stuff, I once heard a hockey player say that, and this hockey player was known for fighting. I don't exactly remember his name, but he would always listen to music, like pop music, to, like, psych himself up to fight, but not like rap or hip hop. Like, he was talking like Taylor Swift and shit like that, and it would psych him up to fight. He was just like, I don't really listen to the lyrics. If you just listen to, like, the beats and that kind of stuff, it just makes me angry and want to fight. Yeah. And I always found that really interesting that it was, like, music like that made him want to fight. But on that other spectrum, when it comes to modern music, music theorists, I don't know what they're called, the people who does science, they find that music like metal music or heavy metal is the best for putting children to sleep. Yeah.
I think it's because we're just a chaotic, warmongering fucking species. That's we thrive on conflict and carnage.
We do. Humans do thrive on conflict and carnage in every sense of the.
Turn on the war drum so I can go to bed.
Yeah, it is true though. In every aspect of our society, war engulfs us, and it is the thing that we are best at. We are best at fighting. Yeah.
Maybe that's the even bigger conspiracy.
What?
We were dropped here by another species to cultivate an army of just warring psychopaths, and they're going to suck us all up and shoot us on other planets.
I'm down.
Me too.
Like that doesn't sound bad at all.
They have tobacco there? I'm not going. Don't make me call my grandpa John Players.
John Players, yeah.
Come teach you a lesson.
I'm not a good. That sounds like a good alien conspiracy. I'm okay with that if that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why like they only abduct so many people at a time.
Yeah,
They get a fucking tactical squad.
go boom.
Yeah.
We need a tactical squad.
And now they learn that like socialism is the best weapon, so
Yeah.
they're just sucking up a bunch of like entitled assholes, and then they drop them on another planet. 10 years completely implodes.
Completely implodes.
Yeah. We only have 2 genders. Not anymore.
What the fuck?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure like if we met an advanced species, we would make them commit suicide like right away. Like, they would just get on their ship and
They would not want to deal with us.
yeah, like if this exists in the universe, like I'm done. I'm out.
Yeah. I could just imagine just try to like sit them down and be like, so this is how we work. This is what we are, a species that like thrive on violence, but our main concern right now is how many genders we have and who you fuck.
Yeah. Can we have sex with stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they could be super nice. Like, we're going to come here and we're going to give you all of the gifts so that you could live a perfect utopian life. And we'd just be, no.
Yeah. It was like, fuck you.
Kill it with fire.
What do you guys do with the ones? What do you guys do with the ones you guys are slow? Oh, we just kill them at birth.
Yeah, we eat them.
Yeah. Lose your fucking.
Yeah. It just makes sense.
Yeah.
We're utilitarians. Yeah. Well,
What was the other topic?
I thought spirituality would take us a lot farther.
Well,
Like,
it's
you
not
just
that
have-
complicated. We can talk
no,
about
it's-
our spirituality is very. I've sat down and like thought about what I believe, right?
Yeah.
So I know my answers. But if you want, we can talk about religion. That one's like spicy.
We can talk about spicy religion.
Yeah. All right.
And I think we might have to circle back to this have a part 2, because I'd like to talk about like the Tao science, and like it could really be cool because we could talk about like Eastern medicine and Tao science. I think it's Tao science.
I think we should talk about.
And then-
Yeah, I know what you mean by
and
Tao
go-
science. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
it's all based on frequency and vibration as well.
I think. Look out for this one because I think this one's going to be spicy at one point. We should talk about herbal medicines and alternative medicines.
Totally down for that.
Yeah. All right. Religion. Okay. Some religions are bad. Some religions are good. For the most part, humans need something to believe in.
Yeah.
Now, whether that's politics or nowadays it's just your internet Tumblr bullshit. Humans always need something to believe in. And
I think that's the big part, right? Like that line is super blurry because I think if you talk to a lot of people about religion, they think of like a priest, a place of worship, like they don't think about the internet. They don't think about social media. They don't think about governments.
Yeah.
They don't think about their employment.
yeah.
Like that CEO looks like a god at a certain point. When,
And that's the thing, right? People, when you say the word religion, they see it as in the theological sense of the word.
Yeah.
And that's not what religion is, really, when it comes down to it. Because, like, what they see is a theology, not a religion. A religion is just something you hardcore believe in and will, like, that's your thing, right?
Yeah.
For the most part, most people in the West, it's, like, Christianity.
Yeah.
Was the main one. Then, people believe in God. Or if they're not Christian, then they just believe in a pseudo Christian type religion with an Abrahamic religion of some kind they believe in, right?
Yeah.
So that's what that and most of the world believes in an Abrahamic religion type of thing. The only place you don't really have it is places like Asia and
wherever the English
Oceania. But even there, Oceania, you still have a lot of it. India. India is where they don't have Abrahamic religion.
Yeah.
So Abrahamic religion, for those who don't know, it's any religion that's based off of
Well, in Scandinavian countries, that would have been
it's pagan. It's pagan. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
would pagan be associated with an Abrahamic?
No, an Abrahamic religion is any religion that's based off the Jewish God. So we're talking Jesus. Well, I should name the religion instead. So, and Catholic, any Christian religion, Jews, Islam, and all associated friends and family. Those are Abrahamic religions.
Yeah.
When it comes to, like you were talking about Taoism,
Yeah.
that would be more like Asian type religion. So Buddhism, Taoism, I don't know what the other ones are called, but
there's a few of them.
There's a few of them, those ones. And then
not anymore because the CPP killed.
Yeah, the CPP killed all of them.
Yeah.
But
true story. You should look it up.
And then you were talking about pagan religions. So pagan religions is such a wide encompassing term that it's kind of ridiculous to put these ones in there. But so classic Greek, Roman religions are now considered pagan. But
so like anything that had like a multi-deity kind of thing.
You can say anything that had a multi-deity is pagan, but that's not the definition.
That's not the definition.
Most pagan religions have multiple deities, but pagan just means it's a religion that's more or less dead and doesn't have that many followers. Okay. That's how people use it now.
Yeah.
That's what pagan means. And then when you go smaller than that, you just go into cults.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's too where pagan is associated a lot would be with like devil worship, Satanism.
Well, Satanism would be an Abrahamic religion.
Yeah, but I think the public perception is that of something malice.
Yeah, it's and that comes from a long way back in history. We're talking even before even in the BC era, where people saw pagan religions as bad and evil, right?
Yeah.
And that sort of just stayed true throughout all of history.
Yeah.
But nowadays, like, we have a much better understanding of pagan religions, especially things like the Greek pantheon and the Roman pantheon and the Norse pantheon, and even other smaller parts of the world, like the like Native American pantheon, and we know more about these things now. So calling it's no longer really seen as devil worship.
Yeah.
And now when people usually say the term pagan, a lot of times they're referring to the Norse gods. So I'm talking Thor and Odin and those guys.
Yeah, the cool ones.
The cool ones. Which, fun fact, they're actually based off of Egyptian gods.
Yeah. Well, and I think like if you take a deep dive into religion,
it all goes back to the same god.
And further than that, it generally just goes back to like the way the world ran.
Yeah.
Most people liked sun and rain.
Yeah. So
and they turned it into a story and it just evolved from there.
Yeah. And throughout all of history, people have gone to war over gods and over what they believe. But I've never been one much to buy into that theory. I've always seen theology as a tool used by people in power.
Yeah.
To sow their will.
Yeah. Well,
right?
Like there's only so many tactics they have. And again, like if you boil that down and look through the patterns of history, it's the same fucking thing.
And like there's this one anecdote that's pretty funny. I believe it's in a journal from Alexander the Great. It's not Alexander the Great, but one of his generals. Yeah. There's this funny thing that this general was very much against religion and was like, religion is bullshit. Yeah. But what they would do before they decide to attack, they would have their shamans or whatever to come by, and they would ask the shamans to do a ritual and be like, to predict, will this be a good day for the war? Yeah. So what would happen was, if the generals knew strategically that right now is the time to attack, they would ask the pagans the shamans to come by, do their thing, and then they would come out, oh, the gods don't think it's a good idea. They'd turn to them like, maybe do it again. Yeah. And then until eventually they got the role they wanted, and then they were like, oh, the gods say it's a good day to attack. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then they would attack. That is an actual example of Alexander the Great and how, from looking at it from above and at the perspective of the people in charge of everything, how religion is used to control the masses, in this case to encourage Alexander the Great's army
Yeah.
and be like, we have the blessing of God today. Go.
Yeah.
You know?
But I think, and it's not to undersell the merit of belief. You know, like,
oh, absolutely.
Like,
if
what is
you,
it? Ridge. What is that movie? War movie. It's amazing. Ridge.
Which war? World War II?
I think it's World War II. They made it a movie. He was like a conscientious objector because he wanted to be a medic because he was holy roller.
Oh,
Hacksaw Ridge.
Hacksaw Ridge.
Yeah, and then the end of the movie, they're showing like they didn't go until they prayed. Like, belief is a very powerful tool.
That's the thing. When people truly believe that they can do something, they'll do something. They'll make it happen. Right? It has to do with morale, right?
Mm-hmm. And vibration.
And vibration. Yeah, you can go into that aspect of it if you want, where like if you want to play in that aspect. And you know what? I would believe that aspect definitely has a massive role to it. Yeah. But yeah, so religion, for the most part, in my view, is used to control people.
Well, and even with the word, like you boil down religion, I can't remember. Everything now has become debunked or is true, or like there's so many things. But I think when you boil down religion, like the base root of that word is fear. Like
is it?
The ancient translation. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming it means like fear God or fear something, but it's based on fear.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you don't follow this, bad stuff happens.
Yeah. And again, not shitting on people in the past, right?
Or people who partake in a religion.
Or people who partake in religion.
A better person.
You know, I think lots of different religions can offer some very, very good life lessons and some very good moral compasses.
Yeah.
And I'm not excusing any bad things that religious people do for their religion. I'm just saying that there are some religions that...
I'm going to make a bold statement.
Yeah.
Traditional religions were the social media of their times. Because social media in and
because
of
that's where they got the news.
Yeah.
That's legit. In Europe, that's where you would get the news.
Yeah.
You would go to your parish or your whatever the fuck, and the priest, either before or after the ceremony, would talk about things that have happened locally in the news. Yep. That's how people got their news. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, it is a social media of the time type deal. Yeah. And it's a good example because people now worship social media.
100%. Actually, I had this really cool in-depth conversation. This is spinning us kind of away.
That's okay.
I have a tremendous belief that humans are inherently good and that humanity will prevail.
Okay.
Eventually. There's going to be growing pains, but eventually I think we'll get there.
Yeah.
And he was of the mind that, not so much opposed to it, but I don't think he didn't think of it that it would come maybe as fast as I believe it will, based on, watching communities kind of disassemble, our sense of family disassemble, like all these things going through, and our reliance on technology and our addiction to technology. But I think it was 60 or 70 years ago, and we got hit by a massive solar flare. And it just hit like a small portion of actually Canada. Yeah. And it cost millions of dollars in damage. Yeah. And this is when things were still fucking cheap. Yeah. And like, it takes a lot to do that. Yeah. But the sun shoots off fucking solar flares all the time.
I think it's like 12 a day.
Yeah. And some of them would completely wipe out
the power grid.
Yeah. Of not just like Canada,
but like the entire world.
Yeah. Right? And like there would be some definite chaos from that, but people would have to go back to living in communities. Like a strong portion of populations, because you have no life skills anymore. There's no people that know, like, we all have very specific sets of skills, but those communities are going to want hunters. They're going to want mechanics. They're going to want all of these people to be part of them so that they can barter and build trade and have a community that's functional and gives them some comfort, life comfort. Mm-hmm. So I think if that was the case, I think like that would kickstart our communities coming together quite rapidly.
Well, yeah, it would be that or die.
Yeah. Yeah. And then when we were talking, it spun into another, because one of the other things that has become like a really hot topic is like this victim mentality and this abuse. So I'll tell a quick story, and it's not really related to that.
No, go ahead.
I've seen this lovely, lovely person. And she was telling me a story. When she was growing up, they had if you don't eat your supper, like, you don't get to do anything until
Your supper's
your supper. So, and like, right at refused. And they got McDonald's. They were on a road trip. She hates eggs. Didn't want it. But the rule applied. And they think they were comfortable, but they didn't have a lot of money at this time. So they were buying it because it was cheap and dirty. And, something's in her kid's stomach. So, and then she was talking to me about it and saying, like, this was like a detrimental, fucking traumatic experience for me in my life.
Yeah.
Being as a kid. And I said, like, this is, like, I'm not discrediting your feelings, but I want to give you some perspective. Because, I talk to my neighbor, and he's 1,000 years old, and we tell stories all the time. And he was talking to me, and, like, again, not a huge, like, this guy's, I think, in his late 70s, early 80s. And he's in his 80s. He's in his 80s, yeah, so you know him. Yeah. I mean, we're going back to, like, his early childhood. So, like, 70 years. Again, not a huge chunk of time.
Yeah.
That poor motherfucker had to watch his friends and family literally starve to death and die because there was no food.
Yep.
So I explained to her, like, you have to understand that, like, your parents probably didn't live in that situation, but that behavior and that mentality of you fucking eat because it's food and you won't die from it is ingrained in them. Yeah. And they're bringing that to you. And, like, I know that might have been traumatic at the time, and parents don't have the greatest ability to communicate all the time and give perspective to kids, but think about that now. Yeah. Like, if they knew... And they would know the descendants of family, like, well, we would all would, but they would be closer to that understanding of if you don't eat, you die. Yeah. So be happy that you got McDonald's, and that's still a problem in the world. Like, starvation is still a thing.
It's, I think, the number one cause of death in the world.
Yeah. So I'm going to keep smoking and eat your fucking vegetables.
Seriously. And I agree with what you're saying. Because, like, even, like, my grandparents... They're of the generation where, especially living in the country, where it's like my mom and my aunts, they talk about how there was, like, no indoor plumbing when they were kids. Yeah. And that was normal. Like, you had to go out to
an outhouse.
Yeah, an outhouse. Yeah.
Yeah. That, like, we have so much that we take for granted, and it wasn't that far away.
Yeah. It's really not that far away. And it's not much to take you back there. Just this year alone, like, was it, like, in February or whatever, there was, like, a somewhat of an ice storm, and there were people without power for, like, 2 weeks. Yeah.
The system's too big.
Yeah. When you have no power for 2 weeks, like, you don't have your fridges, you don't have your TV, you don't have anything. Your food doesn't keep. Yeah. And, like, it reminds me of the ice storm in 98.
When was that? Yeah, 98.
The 98 ice storm. Like, here at my grandparents.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't have power for 2 months.
Yeah.
And they were fine because they grew up like that, right?
Yeah.
My grandma knew how to cook on a fire on a wood stove and just, like, make food that way. My grandpa knew how to get food in the winter and knew how to store food in the winter, and they were perfectly fine. The only thing, it was just, like, reading the newspaper instead of watching TV, right? But, like...
That doesn't take that much. Do you think we got hit with a solar flare and an ice storm? Boom, back to square one.
Dude, get hit by a solar flare and an ice storm? Half the people are dying.
Yeah. My kid, even just in that windstorm, was last year.
Around this time, yeah.
And it put us out for a couple of days.
Yeah.
After 12 hours. Insane.
Yeah.
To not fathom what life is like without fucking a screen on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, just chill the fuck out. Like, let's play some fucking board games. Let's light some candles. Like, just couldn't do it. Yeah. Had no imagination, had no nothing. And, like, this kid was brilliant. But, like, it's just part of, like, culture and society and gets indoctrinated into that.
Yeah. And that's another aspect of it is that, like, nowadays people don't do anywhere near the amount of stuff they used to do, right? Like you're saying, you're talking about your kid. Yeah. How she was, like, couldn't figure out what to do. Yeah. But it's just like, at that age, my mom and my aunts, they were, even if they were a girl, it didn't matter. Yeah. At that age, they were out working, doing stuff, working with the animals, working in the field, doing something, 100%. Right? And it was like, playtime was like when you got home later. Yeah. At night. If you weren't too tired.
Yeah. Well, right? Yeah. Well, and, like, there's something to be said for, and it's another topic that we have to tiptoe around because everyone labels it as child labor and it's abuse.
It's not child labor to teach your kid when they're, like, 10.
I know.
How to, like,
milk a cow.
Yeah.
How to sow a field. How to drive a tractor. How to move fucking bales of hay.
And it's not even necessarily just that. It can be almost anything. Like, we're just referring to that because we come from farming communities. But, like, it can be anything. It could be, like hunting, fishing, foraging. Just basic human survival skills, right?
Yeah.
Like, sewing. You know, like, just making stuff out of nothing.
Yeah.
You know? Like, it doesn't matter.
Well, that's the thing. Like, she's pretty good. I'm lucky with, like, her like she has a great work ethic. Some of those things have declined a little bit, and it's gotten harder, but like those, you get those ups and downs.
Everyone gets those up and downs.
But I mean, like, it's sometimes it's like pulling teeth just to like go, and it's an adventure. Like, I like hiking, I like being outdoors, and man, like, can't stomach the sight of a snake, freaks out with ticks, like, but and again, like, you're fed with this information even from that age. Snakes are venomous, snakes are poisonous, snakes are dirty, snakes will hurt you, snakes will do this, ticks are going to give you Lyme disease, ticks are going to, and like, those things exist. But understand that we have treatment, and we have fucking bug repellent, we have all these things to counteract that. And like,
I don't want to finish your point. It's a funny story. It's a funny story.
That's pretty much the end of it, you know. And like, we go into the woods, and it's just like, bugs are gross, wildlife is yucky. Like, it's like, these are the things that you can really appreciate, and like, shows you like how vast and beautiful the world can be.
As much as you can appreciate being eaten alive by mosquitoes, but you know.
But that's only for a couple weeks.
It's only for a couple weeks. If not, cover yourself in mud and fire. You're good.
Mud and fire.
I have a funny story about ticks. Okay. So I have a friend. He's someone that goes out and walks train tracks for reasons and things, but I can't say the reason here. Anyway, he goes out and walks train tracks for reasons and things, and he was out walking this one time, and he stopped to take a break, and then he sat down, and then out of nowhere he started sweating bullets, and his vision got narrow, and his heart started beating unbelievably quick. And he was far out in the middle of fucking nowhere on these train tracks. He's like, holy fuck, I'm having a fucking heart attack. I'm gonna fucking die out here. No one's gonna fucking find me. I can't call for help. No signal, no nothing. But then he's like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. He's like freaking out, and his chest being out of his heart's being out of his chest. So eventually he's like, I gotta take my clothes off. I'm too warm. He starts taking his shirt off, and then right fucking there, right on his heart, there's a tick. So ticks, when they bite you, they shoot adrenaline into you. So this tick shot adrenaline that like covered his heart, and he started freaking the fuck out. It's a super funny story. Love that guy.
Well, here's a power of strangers. I was camping. I was like backwoods camping. But it was at like a provincial park or whatever. And I woke up in the morning and I had a tick under my armpit. But like, I couldn't get to it. So I had to go to like the next camper, and I was like, hey. But this guy was just a dude. He's like, I've never done this before. And I had like my little tick tool. And just got to bond over fucking removing parasites from my body. It was awesome.
I think I've been bitten by ticks twice. I had one like in my back, and I think I had one like on my side here. I don't have a problem with ticks. I don't like it when they're in me.
It's gross. It's phrasing.
It's like, get out of here.
It's gross. Get out of here. Exactly. But and like,
buy me dinner first.
Buy me dinner first. Salivaing all over me. Gross. But and I think like that's something that goes towards like the global warming argument, right? Like, and it's not necessarily man-made, but something to be aware of. Like, tick populations are like, I remember growing up,
there were no
and
ticks.
Like extra, like, it's insane how much their populations are growing because it's not cold enough to kill them anymore. And again, like, not leaning or diving into it being like a man-made issue, but it's something that is occurring. Like, the planet's getting warmer for whatever reason. Right? And like, when you have things like the tick population, and then even Last of Us sounds crazy and it's this fabulous story, but it's based on
real life.
And that's fucking
those mushrooms are real, and they do that exact same thing, except they just infect spiders and the arachnids. See, so ants, spiders, scorpions.
But I think it's that same mushroom that slugs eat them, and it affects the slugs. and then
Oh,
birds
you're right,
eat
you're
the
right.
slugs,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it just kills the birds. They
Yeah.
don't become zombie birds.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. They do eat the birds. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but they
forgot
grow
about
in the
that.
stomach, and then the body rots, and that's how you get those
Yeah.
mushrooms again.
Yeah.
Yuck.
Yuck.
Yeah, mushrooms
So-
are the scariest thing on the planet besides the WEF. Bing.
So, do you want to talk about the WEF? Or should I talk about the mushrooms?
Let's do mushrooms. We'll do a whole segment
No,
based
no,
just on the
okay.
WEF. Yeah.
I thought that's what you were shooting at me for. I was like,
No, but we can.
no. I want to talk about mushrooms.
Yeah.
I fucking hate mushrooms.
Yeah.
I don't eat mushrooms.
Yeah.
I've never eaten mushrooms. I never will eat mushrooms.
You know what's funny? Just before you get rolling, is that when I was a little kid, I used to love like pepperoni and mushroom pizza.
Yeah.
Like, adored it. It was
Yeah.
my favorite thing. And I don't know what happened. Maybe I just ate too much of it. But I'm in the same boat now. Like, I cannot stand those fucking things.
I don't trust mushrooms. I have a weird aversion to them. The more I learn about mushrooms, the more I really don't want to be near them.
Maybe it's your native instincts.
Yeah, I know,
It's
right?
like, none of these are good.
Yeah. It's like, the Great Spirit warned me.
Yeah.
Keep those miscellaneans away from you.
Yeah, you'll see more of me.
Hey, ho, great warrior.
I told you not to eat those fucking mushrooms. Get the fuck out of here.
Fuck. Oh, shit. Yeah,
Anyway,
no.
go ahead. Yeah.
Mushrooms.
So
I
you've had an aversion.
have always had an aversion to mushrooms.
Yeah.
I don't like eating mushrooms. I find them just weird, right?
Yeah.
So I have this friend. She has like a phobia of mushrooms.
Yeah.
Like I can walk around mushrooms, I can handle them and stuff.
Yeah.
But I will never consume them in any shape or form.
Yeah.
But she has like this massive phobia of mushrooms. One time we were walking.
Yeah.
And we happened to walk through like this little field of sprouts of mushrooms. I don't know what kind of mushrooms they were,
Yeah.
but they were all around her, and she like broke down and started crying
Really?
because she just didn't like being around mushrooms. And I'm just like, you know what? I feel that.
Yeah, I can understand.
I can understand that because if you want to go into the science of like mushrooms, like they're fucking fascinating.
Yeah.
Like they communicate with each other.
Yeah.
And a lot of times their roots are connected. Sometimes they have these massive underground root system of all these mushrooms.
Yeah.
And they know when one's being touched and they
Again, all of the stuff that they got for that fucking movie
Because
video
it's all
game
true.
was all true.
yeah, it's all real. Like that's what mushrooms do.
There's a giant mushroom in the States, and its root system sprawled kilometers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they'll like raise their young too. They'll support their young. Mushrooms are insane.
Yeah. They're sentient. They're just waiting. They're waiting for it to be warm.
I've heard someone say that mushrooms are so close to being sentient that they fall into this like halfway range of like
Let's start a new woke movement about supporting mushroom life.
at this point I wouldn't be surprised. But like I can't trust mushrooms, man. I can't trust them. I see mushrooms, I stomp them out. I'm like I'm not even walking.
Yeah.
Fuck
Well,
you.
you're first. I'm gonna start being nice to them like Alexa. Hi, mushroom. Have a great day. Please leave my brain intact.
No, I'm going down fine.
Yeah. I just gotta smoke it out.
Oh yeah, yeah, they can't survive.
Oh,
in
I
here.
have a fun story.
Okay,
I
go.
have a fun medical oddity story.
Okay.
So my dad is one of the most unhealthy people on the planet.
Okay, hit me.
And you ever see? We'll preface this with: have you seen the Simpsons where the doctor's trying to explain to Mr. Burns what his immune system in his body's like?
No.
When he takes all of like the little rubber finger puppets and tries to push them through the door at the same time.
No, I haven't seen that.
Oh my god, that would make this story so much better.
Okay, but I get the idea. I get the idea.
Yeah. So and like, Dad liked to party for
Yeah.
a long time. And
Yeah.
still kind of parties, but
Yeah.
not as hard.
Yeah.
But still too much.
Yeah.
And like his body's just like in full like we should have been dead 10 years ago. Like why
Yeah.
are we still alive? He's a walking zombie.
Yeah.
Anyway, went to his doctor. Doctor was like blew his head up, full panic fucking mode. I remember going over to his house and like Dad was like a beer and chocolate cake. It was like he walked out of The Outsiders. Like
Yeah.
that was his fridge.
Yeah.
And then if I was lucky, there'd be toast and peanut butter.
Yeah.
Or bread and peanut butter. So I go one day and it's fucking all cleaned out. There's no fucking beer in the house.
Yeah.
He's not fucking smoking as much. Like he's got fresh vegetables and like all this crazy shit. And I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Like I want beer and chocolate cake.
Yeah.
I've been programmed to like these things now. And he's like, I went to the doctor and like, you know, I have like the bad diabetes and like I'm on my way out and like all these things, all these problems. And I'm like, well, shit, good for you for stepping up and like being an old fucker and wanting to, you know, have a better quality of life. I went back 2 weeks later and it was beer and chocolate cake.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck happened? He's like, yeah, I threw out all the vegetables and I just started smoking and drinking more. And it turns out that my body ended up going down in diabetes. Like, he stepped it back. He's like, I don't have to take anything anymore. And I'm like, why? He's like, I don't know, medical miracle. And just like kind of like pittered off.
Yeah.
And like it just left me with the thought of like, and this isn't scientifically accurate, but I like thinking about it, that my dad's body is so uninhabitable that shit is just like, peace the fuck out. Like, I don't want anything to do with you. Well, like I can't put roots. I can't get, like, there's nothing. Yeah. It's like,
I've always been of the mindset that, your body gets used to a certain diet, and I shouldn't say more, used to a certain amount of things consumed.
Yeah.
And when you change that drastically is when medical issues start to appear, right? You'll always see those people who are like fucking 102 years old and all they eat is whiskey, fucking cigarettes and Skittles. Yeah. And right? And they like, there's like perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with them. And you find out, oh, this is what I've been doing since I was 7.
Yeah.
You know? And it's just like, I've always find that there is something to that, you know? Because like, I feel like when your body's used to having a six-pack of beer and like that kind of shit, and then it suddenly doesn't get it anymore, and instead it's getting, I don't know, a tomato, it's like, what the fuck is this?
What do we have to do with this?
And it's
give him diarrhea so he never does it again.
Puts you in like this shock, you know?
100%. When my grandma had cancer, they were fucking throwing up beer in her IV bag so she wouldn't go through fucking withdrawals.
Fuck. Yeah. See?
Yeah.
Perfectly, like that makes sense.
I don't know how you put cigarette smoke in an IV bag though.
You get those, you know, those like oxygen masks.
Except it's full of fucking.
Yeah. Just the mask is like
save
black.
It for later. You know how much money I'll save on cigarettes? Yeah, it's just all black. Sorry.
It's just like...
yeah. Mushrooms tried to get me, but I killed them with fucking lung cancer. Yeah. Apparently they can't grow in tar.
Yeah. You know what's funny is it makes sense for Joel to be like a contractor, right?
Yeah.
Because that's all they do is drink and smoke cigarettes.
Yeah. I have silicosis. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Oh, fuck you, mushroom. I ain't scared of you.
Exactly. I'm still gonna be nice to them because, like, just in case.
Those little runners to come at you.
Yeah. Well, they'll be running. I'll be like, it's me, guys. And go on in their own direction.
You know what I always found? Okay, so you know how lobster and shrimp is like the bugs of the ocean? Well, I find that like jellyfish are like the mushrooms of the ocean.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, good. Finally, someone agrees with me.
Yeah, those are the two scariest things on the planet by far.
Mushrooms and
grizzly
jellyfish?
bears and the CCP and the WEF. It's fucking mushrooms and jellyfish. Terrifying.
Yes. Have you seen a man of war jellyfish?
Yes.
Those things are huge.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Okay, talking about jellyfish. Okay, so
we are all over the place.
We are all over the place. But I have to tell you this story before I forget it. This is a real story. It's a real military document.
Yeah.
They observed a jellyfish that is like flat.
Yeah.
And wide and long to the realm of kilometers. Because a submarine was scanning the bottom, what they thought was the bottom.
Yeah.
And then like instantly the bottom like disappeared. And there was like hundreds of feet deeper. And then they're like, what the fuck? And then they went back and it was still like hundreds of feet deeper. And then they had to go down. And then they were like, let's look at what we were scanning again. And it was like
kilometers long.
Like square kilometers massive jellyfish of some kind that just like swam away really quickly.
There's some scary shit. And like, we get all the like drip fed runoff, but like every story has a grain of truth, because there was another one. It was they labeled it as like a creepypasta, you know, where they tell you those spooky things. but it was also an acclaim. I've never researched into it, but I like thinking about it. It was like off of Chernobyl.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if it had to do anything with like the reactor.
Yeah.
But that's the area we're looking at. And the military had documents of them going into an apartment complex with flamethrowers. Did you hear that story?
Yes.
For the giant spider?
Yeah.
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 That was eating people?
Yeah.
Like, fuck, gross.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to shoot in a barn anymore. I wish I never remembered that fucking story. Like, that is fucking... I'm more comfortable with fighting a giant spider than I am a small one that I can't see. Giant things I'm okay with because like I can at least get my shots in and like, just die like a man, like fucking smoking.
I'm gonna take an eye out.
Just like turn into a fighting Irish. Or, like fuck, you're gonna feel me in the morning, bitch. But like I don't ever want to be like if that's my death where it's just like
Yeah.
and I'd be like no.
Yeah. I always like reading those stories because you never. Like you said, there's a grain of truth to all of them, right?
Yeah.
And especially now with everything we're seeing declassified, the craziest fucking shit. I'm just like, what kind of shit does them like do? There's like special military people that go out to
Monarch.
kill. They go out to kill these weird fucking creatures and shit, right?
Which also, like, if you're looking for people, I will do that job.
I will happily do that job, bro.
And I won't tell anybody.
Yeah, seriously, I won't tell a soul. I don't care.
Especially for money. Like, I'll sell that right away.
Yeah.
If it's good money and I get to fucking... Yeah, awesome.
Give me a gun and send me to those places you don't want to send anybody.
Yeah, exactly. Fight giant jellyfish.
No, I'm not going to the water.
less
I'm not going
water
to the water.
things, but like, yeah. Giants, like, I'm down for. Fucking huge spiders, definitely down for. Capturing tiny pygmy people, I'll do that too. Yeah.
I got you, the little fucking leprechaun.
Little brown leprechauns. Have you seen that video of that little guy?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
And that actually would freak me the fuck out.
That little dude running around?
Especially if you saw like 8 of them.
Yeah.
I'd be like, no.
They're coming at you. They're like, whoa! They got little toothpick bows.
Yeah. Stop it. I'm going to put my safety glasses on. Then you guys are fucked. Start burning them with cigarettes. Get the fuck out of here. It's his whole body. So morbid. So dark. What did you do all day? I was burning pygmies and smokes. Yeah. Doesn't seem very humane. They're small. They're one shot.
They're not even people.
Yeah, they're not people. Yeah. You have to be this tall to be human. Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Well, although it is funny when you talk about leprechauns, that kind of stuff. I've seen the meme, right, where it's just like, how did all these cultures with no connection to each other come up with the exact same gifting ritual and description for leprechauns?
Yeah.
I always found that really funny.
Yeah. Ugh. What is it's just spooky. Leprechauns fuck me up again. My charming father was a horrible TV monitoring parent. And my sense of humor and fucking curiosity definitely came from that side of the family. But I remember watching like the movie Leprechaun when I was like 4 years old.
Yeah.
Scarred me for fucking until puberty, and then I was like, I'm big and I can just beat him up.
I've never watched horror movies. I've never been much into horror movies. No. Not that I'm
one,
scared of them, it's just not something I like watching.
That one did some fucking damage until I got thicker. Fuck you, Warwick. You ain't shit.
What the fuck you gonna do? Just punt him.
Yeah, scary little fucking Burning Man. Get away from me. Oh man, he made me watch like Candyman. He didn't make me watch, but he would be up watching TV and watching his stuff at nighttime, and I just wouldn't go to bed, so I stayed up and fucking watched TV with him. Yeah, and then I started watching South Park when I was 9.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That explains everything, actually.
Yeah, and I was just like, I know how the world works.
Yeah. Yeah, I
South Park is one of the most underrated pieces of entertainment and literature and science that we have.
South Park has this like level of it's like you can't touch it. Like they can almost do anything and they're okay because it's expected of them.
Yeah, they set the expectation like that.
Like the only time that they got like censored was when they did Muhammad, right? And I was like,
yeah, but they came back from that and re-aired it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They just sold it to another station.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't care.
Oh, a mouse.
Aw.
Yeah. CPP spy. Or CCP spy.
Yeah, those fucking leprechauns.
Yeah. He's going to go and tell his master. Leave my fucking tires alone. Yeah, I'll be going through fucking trees like no tomorrow to touch my tires.
Yeah.
Give me that gold. Where are your leprechaun women? Just shaking down the whole fucking village. Yeah.
Stomping on their little houses.
Yeah. Get the fuck out of here. I'm gonna burn you with cigarettes, but I'm starting at the feet and working my way up. No one touches my fucking tires.
Oh no. Oh fuck.
That'd be funny. After 2 or 3 weeks, they'll have little posters of my face in their tree homes.
Wanted.
Yeah, wanted.
Be aware.
Yeah.
Crazy wild man.
Warning, don't touch tires.
Talking about, because you brought up the story about the military going out and killing weird shit.
Yeah.
Did you hear about the stories of Alberta or BC?
Which ones?
The Canadian military. So there was... so this is how the story goes, and I have looked into it, and there is some validity to this one story. Mm-hmm. It's not just a creepypasta. So there was a campground that 2 children went missing from. Yeah. And then there were reports of weird screams in the woods and that kind of stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Eventually, the police were called in. The police came. The police then filled out a report, and they were calling in for more police to come. And then, when they called in for more police to come help, a couple black helicopters showed up, sealed off the place, told everyone to fuck off. Yeah. And then they went in, and eyewitness reports say that they came out with 1 dead Bigfoot, a wounded female Bigfoot, and a captured child.
Captured child?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. I like that story. That's a good story. Yeah.
What did the big female Bigfoot look like?
They look like the ones in that video. Oh. Mm. You know what I'm talking about, right? The one where you see it from the back walking there? Yeah. That one. That's what they look like.
I'm trying not to make any horrible jokes.
Just looks like a giant fucking monkey guy.
Big Kardashian ass on it, just flopping through the wood.
Like, damn! Damn! I wonder why there ain't more of you around. Yeah.
The dad Bigfoot died like this.
Death by Snoo Snoo. Yeah. Daddy Squatch just spanking
that ass. Yeah. Little baby Bigfoots would probably be adorable, though.
Yeah. Yeah, they'd be like little monkeys.
Yeah. Little cute little monkeys. Yeah. Oh, that's crazy. Well, have you ever looked into the giants thing?
The Nephilim?
I don't know what they call it. All the stuff I've looked at, it was always just giants. They might have mentioned Nephilim, but I'll never remember that word.
No, I'm just using the word Nephilim because that's the word the military uses for them in their descriptions, and also in the original historical documents about them. It's
Nephilim.
That's always Nephilim.
Yeah.
If you go with the historic religious one about it, it's like. It's these half-breeds of humans with gods or humans with aliens. I don't know how you want to split that one up, but
it's just, something's touching something.
Yeah. It's and they lived in caves and they had red hair and they were cannibalistic.
Oh, the Irish.
Yeah, I was reading that and I'm just like, are you just talking about Irish people? Because I know you guys were short back then.
Yeah. Yeah, someone that was 6 foot would just be a giant.
Yeah.
Yeah, your perspective's all distorted.
But when it comes to the giants, there's some fun stories. There's the story about in Afghanistan. That one's a really...
The tomb one? Is that the tomb one in Afghanistan?
That's the one where it was U.S. Marines that ended up fighting it by accident. Did you hear that story?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they killed it eventually, but they took three of their guys got killed. One of them got speared or something.
Could you imagine being...
Could you imagine? You're just a U.S. Marine, right? You're like, oh, let's go clear some caves. We're gonna kill some Osamas, and then you walk in there, and there's a giant Irish dude with a club and a spear.
How did you get here? Yeah.
Who's like,
fucking slops on the grease.
Just your buddy just get fucking speared to a wall. What the fuck?
This is bullshit. Yeah.
I wasn't ready for this.
Exactly.
Yeah, fuck. Yeah. So there's that one. The most compelling argument for the Nephilim story, though, that I've always found interesting was in Nevada, I think, or Arizona.
Yeah.
The natives there, I think it's the Blackfoot. No, the Navajo. They have the exact same description of the giants.
Yeah.
As they do in the books from like from the religious texts.
Yeah.
Big, tall, red hair. The only difference is in the books they just say red hair.
Yeah.
The natives say their bodies were covered in red hair. So
Yeah.
could be a little play on there. But
that could be like a prehistoric monkey if that was the case.
that's what I think it is. I think it's just prehistoric monkeys.
Monkey.
But the ones, the Navajo one, the way they say that they also say they were cannibalistic, and they say that there was a group of them, like maybe 3 or 4 of them, that kept harassing their village, and the way that they took them out, they waited until like they were asleep, and then a bunch of the natives snuck with a big rock.
Yeah.
And put it up against the wall and then banged it up with rocks. Yeah. And then like threw fire in there to like smoke them so that they would like die from smoke inhalation. Yeah. And that's I always found that story to be pretty interesting because the description of them is the same: big, tall, giant, over 6 feet tall, but not like 12 feet. Like they always put them at like something like 8 to 10 feet tall. Yeah. Which again, and also cannibalistic, red hair. It's the exact same thing as in the Bible. Yeah. Well, the historical documents that have them, which is they call them giants. They don't specify how tall. They call them giants. They say they have red hair, and they say they're cannibalistic. Yeah. So it's the exact same story, more or less.
From very
far apart.
The farthest parts.
Which super interesting.
And then and I think if you look through a lot of those like historical depictions of things, and then to text. And again, maybe it's some super well-traveled storyteller. But the other thing is that this is a problem that people had to deal with back then. Yeah. Like an actual thing. Yeah. Yeah. Did you see that YouTuber? And then there was a bunch of controversy, and I'm pretty sure they just shit all over it. Where he was like, I think he was Canadian in BC talking about giants, and like the FBI showed up and told him to shut up, and they had to take his thing down. Yeah. You know Les Stroud? Yeah. Yeah. Of course I do. Yeah. He had a big thing about... So... If you're talking about giants or Bigfoot, I think we're interchangeable at this point. Yeah. He's like a hardcore believer in them because he said he saw one from a distance once. Yeah. But he went and got hair samples. Yeah. And sent them to the lab, and then the lab came back and was like, "We're keeping the hair." Well, no, it wasn't the lab that came back. It was like the military or something came back and was like, "We're keeping the hair sample, and you're gonna shut the fuck up about it." Yeah. It's just like, bro. Yeah, sorry, I threw you under the bus. Yeah. But, yeah. I mean, like, again, like, there's so much. Like, the world is incredibly small in certain instances and at times. Yeah. But at the same time, so incredibly vast and humongous with things that haven't been explored and people aren't walking around in. And, Canada is, like, the least explored country in the world. Yeah. I think we got all the good parts. Yeah, sorry. It's like I forget what the percentage is of Canada that's explored, but it's less than 15% of Canada is actually explored. Yeah, that's crazy. We should become adventurers, dude. Yeah, let's start a GoFundMe to become Canadian adventurers. Do you want to know how fucking far and like barren Canada is, and like as an unexplored? NASA has been caught taking photos of some of Badlands in Canada and passing them off as photos from Mars. That's nuts. I'm 100% serious. Fuck you, NASA. We want $200 million in restitution from NASA. There's all other topical news we should have talked about. What? NASA? No, the restitution thing. Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's also topical. It'll be topical next week. Yeah, it's always topical. It's always topical. Fuck California. Yeah. Off topic. Okay, NASA's stealing pictures of vast. They went to they were supposed to release photos of Mars, I guess, or something, and I guess they didn't want to, or they didn't have photos, or whatever.
So they went to some Badlands, an island in Canada that has that's Badlands. They took some photos of the fucking ground there, put a fucking red filter on it, and were like, "This is Mars." But then someone would after a week or something was just like, "That's a fucking rat right there." There's a rat hiding behind a camera, behind a rock.
That's a Mars rat.
Yeah, NASA's just like, yeah, you didn't see that.
Yeah, see? That's why you should get professional graphic designers to look at your shit.
Yeah.
They could have cloned that out for you and no one would have known. Stupid.
Dude. No. NASA should be its own topic. I'm not.
Okay.
They do a lot of shit that I don't.
Okay, shitty NASA stuff. Next
Yeah.
topic. We're gonna have to do a recap before I go.
Okay.
Okay, for topics.
Okay. Any other things you want to talk about today?
I thought you had more stuff to go off of with
For what?
the monsters and giants.
Oh, you want to talk about monsters and giants? Fuck yeah. Okay. So.
Oh, okay. I have a thing.
Okay.
So back when encyclopedias were still a thing,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah, so Mama had this massive thing of encyclopedias.
Yeah.
And I didn't have internet and TV most
Yeah.
days fucking sucked.
Yeah.
And Pangu will rot your brain faster.
I hate Pangu.
Yeah, fuck Pangu. That made me promote the killing of fucking penguins. I hate him. But it's never a good thing. Penguins are adorable and we need them. But you would read those things and the censorship, that's what I mean. If we could build a time machine, you just go back to 1990
Yeah.
and read the encyclopedias. The things they were pulling out of the oceans
Yeah.
was nuts. Giant fucking eels. And they don't talk about them anymore.
No.
I've gone back to look for shit. I don't even think the fucking encyclopedia exists anymore.
No.
They didn't jive with the times. They
Yeah.
just fucking died and turned into nut. But the stories they were talking and firsthand accounts, which again lose a little bit of weight now, but then there was no reason for all of these people to tell the same story to the same degree of detail.
If when it comes to the oceans, especially okay, there's the German U-boat.
Yeah.
I think it was World War One, but they said they got attacked. A U-boat's a submarine. It's massive.
It's huge.
Right? They said they got attacked by something and were forced to surface because whatever was attacking them was crushing the shell, the hull of the submarine. Yeah. And they surfaced and they were panicking and they waved over a British ship. Yeah. And that's the official story of what happened with them.
Yeah.
They got attacked by something massive that was crushing the fucking ship.
Yeah.
And they were like, we need help.
It was a giant squid.
It was a giant fucking squid. Or those giant teeth marks and sucker marks on the fucking rudder.
Yeah.
Of a USS boat.
Yeah.
It's massive. The teeth are the size of this.
Yeah.
Is
one tooth.
One tooth.
It's fucking crazy.
And it's just there's no such thing as a giant squid or eels
and that's starting to all become debunked too. They're taking actual videos of squid,
it's the giant
deep sea squid or whatever. There's a special name for them outside of giant squid.
Yeah.
But you see it go by.
Yeah.
And it's a squid,
Yeah.
and then it's still going, and
Yeah.
then you're there's the body, oh my god, and then it goes for another 40 seconds. It's those are the fucking legs. When you see those shitty pictures of a pirate in the fucking boat, it's all poorly pencil drawn, and then giant legs destroying it.
Yeah.
That's a real thing. Fuck the water.
You see all those ancient mariners and shit are just feel so validated right now.
Yeah, exactly. We told you.
We fucking why are they native?
Because they're ancient.
Oh, yeah,
everyone was native back then.
Yeah. They're just it happened, bro. It happened, trust me.
Okay, they're hipsters, whatever. Yeah. Native hipsters.
Yeah, there you go.
What happened, bro?
Did you know? Okay, so you know that eel there, the scary looking eel. I forget what it's called.
Terrifying one.
You know,
but it's got a giant maw.
That one.
Yeah.
We don't know how they reproduce.
Really? There's a bunch of shit we don't know.
Yeah. So as far as we know, they come out of their little fucking holes.
Yeah.
They go to near Point Nemo. That's the farthest point from any land.
Yeah.
And then they come back.
With babies?
With babies.
With babies.
No. They come back with eggs. And then they put the eggs on the... It's the males, by the way. No, there's no females. So they go out there, somehow get eggs, and then come back. And then they plant the eggs in the ground, and then the eels come out.
Yeah. So that's the perfect species. They figured out, bitch, go over there. We'll come see you. We'll get our shit. We'll raise the kids. Don't do anything. Shop in the Arctic, and that's it.
But where are the females?
Up there at Point Nemo. You guys stay over there.
Yeah, but like, isn't that concerning in some way that we've never even seen a female one?
No.
No?
No. I think that those eels just have their shit on point. It's like, you got to make your man look good. You got to respect your man. All those eels are just Andrew Tates. They got little Andrew Tate faces when they're swimming through the...
That's terrifying. That's even scarier. I'm top G.
Yeah, I'm top G. I'm top E. Yeah, that's where he got it from.
Oh,
we've debunked it. Andrew Tate is officially, he's just an eel.
He's an eel.
He's an eel.
Fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like that. I don't like that story at all. Like,
That's terrifying. It gives me nightmares. It's scarier than the giant flat pancake jellyfish.
yeah, fuck that thing.
No, man, but there's a bunch, like, you can't even go into the, what is it? What's the north one? Arctic?
The North Pole area?
Yeah, Arctic.
There's the subarctic. There's the Arctic. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't go.
You can't do fuck all there. Like, there's military bases fucking everywhere.
Oh yeah, like it's like Canada in a general sense is so fucking unexplored. Yeah. In the 1960s, we discovered the Nazis actually had set up a base in Canada.
Yeah. Just like in the woods?
Just in the woods in northern Quebec. No one even fucking knew until the 1960s.
Let's go there.
Yeah, there's just like there's some like, and it wasn't even like people. It was like specific expedition for exploration that was like coming by, and they were just like, "That's a funny looking flag."
That's not what the leaf looks like.
But like, fuck, it's just like, so how long were the Nazis there? And apparently, like, because all the books and everything is still there. They were
killed by a Bigfoot.
They were operating in maybe they were operating there up until the 50s.
That's insane.
It's just like, oh
yeah, found you. Peekaboo.
Peekaboo.
Oh my god. That's crazy. But that's what I mean. Like, there's so much, like, Amazon, totally unexplored. Canada, totally unexplored. Like,
yeah. Well, the Amazon is like entirely man-made, right?
Yeah, which I think is super cool.
Yeah.
Everything was cherry-picked.
Yeah. It's fucking insane.
That's awesome. Well, and they use the same technology in the fucking Arctic with ground-penetrating radar and realizing, like, there's all these fucking pockets and there's all this crazy shit.
Yeah.
And they're like, we found all this cool stuff. And then someone comes by and they're like, no, you didn't.
No, yeah. No, you didn't.
It was a broken machine.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just fucking Canada.
Yeah. It's like in the South Pole when they were doing that stuff and they were exploring everywhere.
Yeah.
It's just like the Russians, the British, the Canadians, the Americans were all like there and we're just like, we found some weird shit. You know who we need to call in right now? The Vatican.
Yeah.
They called the Vatican to come and bless the area and to like...
That's scary as fuck.
Yeah.
If the military calls some old crusty fucking church pope guy.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, yeah, you guys have to come. Bring the stuff you keep in the room in the back. Not the kids. The other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They just show up with like a bunch of fucking vials and beakers and dudes in brown robes and...
Start doing the heebie-jeebie shit. Go.
Do the thing that you're not supposed to do.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Do the thing
like, we're literally all friends here because this is scary as shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are the last line of defense.
It's the fucking Pope. Yeah, he's just cruising up in his golf cart with bulletproof windows. Don't worry, I gotta take care of it.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
It's the same car. It doubles. It's like amphibious.
Yeah. There's a phone in the Pope's office right now. Just blinks a red light. It's rotary. He's just kicking it old school. Yeah. He doesn't even put shoes on. Still in sandals. Gets in his car.
The Cardinals come by. He's like, "What is it, Mr. Pope? They found it again in the Arctic. I'll be right back."
Yeah. It's just a frozen Jew.
Oh no, not again.
We can't bury this motherfucker anywhere.
It keeps popping up.
It just keeps popping up. I'll be back in 48 hours, you asshole. Can't kill me. A horrible Jesus joke. All of those levels, like, I'm just building, like I told you, like, just a visual mind. Like, and, like, unfortunately, like, the Pope in my mind's the Family Guy one.
Yeah. I always feel like the world the world is more like a comedy than it is anything else.
Oh yeah.
Because like if you look at the people in those situations doing those things, like how can you not laugh? You know, like you're this top secret military dude who's exploring the fucking Arctic, and suddenly you find something, you're just like, yeah, we gotta call the church.
Yeah, but you know what the best part is? It's like the lower levels of that who show up.
Yeah.
And they're like, what do we do about this? And then the higher ups call the Pope. Like, that guy would laugh and shit his pants. Like, that's the answer?
Would you?
Is it a bunch of dudes in dresses is supposed to come here and throw rocks at it? Like, what the fuck? We have all of this shit, and you're calling him.
Yeah, well, you know what? You guys were supposed to kill one giant, and Tommy got speared, and the two other dudes got their head chopped off.
And everybody knows about it. They've been banging kids for 200 years, and they barely get any trouble.
Ever wonder why? Maybe they're the last line of defense.
They're the last. That's why. That's that's a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
That the Vatican is so untouchable because they're the only ones that can defend us from this great ancient evil. Circling back to my every story has a grain of truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, what is this? Is it the Antichrist? Oh, it's worse.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Plug in a bunch of names there.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Good times.
Good times.
Well, I guess we should just wrap it up there.
Yeah, wrap it up around here.
Yeah.
All right.
Good seeing you, buddy.
Yeah, it was nice to see you too.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
This has been 3 Dead Babies. We hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. We know we did, and that's all that matters.
Don't forget to leave comments, like the video, and please subscribe. It helps us an amazing amount.
Yeah.
Again, I'm Vampire Jesus.
I'm your fabulous co-host, and we would love to keep, talking shit about everybody's problems. So in that comment section, light it up with whatever's fucking burning your ass, pissing you off, making you crazy, and we'd love to dig into it and have a conversation about it. Until next time, we'll see you later.